Test one, two, test. Pineapple. Pineapple. All right, how's it sound?
Perfect.
Perfect pineapple. All right. Ready when you are, sir.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
Hey, you sleazy feline.
You what was that? Was that in the Ted Cruz interview? I heard that term recently. Was that Ted Cruz
Yeah.
and Tucker?
Tucker called Ted Cruz
You
a
sleazy
sleazy
feline.
feline. That made
Oh
me
my God.
laugh so hard.
Dude, that was like less than a week ago, and so much has happened since then that it feels like that was months ago. But like that,
Yeah.
yeah, it's amazing. Nothing gets more than like a half a day in the spotlight because something else is going to kick it out of the way. And it's only this is the Trump effect, big time. Before we get started, I have to tell you that a concerned listener that I was watching the Thunder with the other night pointed out to me that your flag is not hung correctly, and he
Yeah.
thought that you accidentally did it, and that I should let you know about this.
No, that's the point. Like, wasn't the right was doing this the whole time Joe Biden was in office. They were hanging all their
Yeah,
flags upside down.
it's supposed to mean the country is in distress, like we're under
Yeah.
attack. I'll tell you this right
Yeah.
now. I thought it was stupid when they were doing it, and I don't. I think it's stupid that you're doing it, but also, like, I strongly believe in the First Amendment, and if you want to do that, that's your right. It's kind of like if I saw somebody burning a flag. Like, I don't think they should be arrested, but I think they're a moron for doing it. I don't think you're a moron. I just think it's a little ridiculous. I think it's a little bombastic.
Our country is in distress, Andy.
We've been our citizens are in distress and have been in distress for the last I don't even want to know if I could say how many years. For a while. It's pre-Trump we've been in distress. Actually, I don't know about this. I'll say pre-first Trump, I don't know about. Starting ever since about 2015, I feel like we've been on a trajectory heading in a way that I don't like. Like it's just
Well, hold on. We went through Trump in the first one, and everybody kind of gave him a chance, right? Everybody was like,
I don't know that I can say that. I don't think
even
I
you,
did.
you too. You were the one that kind of gave me the idea. Like you were like you said, I don't like it, but I'm gonna give him a chance. And I was
I
like,
oh,
okay,
man.
you're right, Andy. And I remember this. I remember this
I
specifically. It was you
I think
telling me you
you're
were gonna
right.
give him a
I think you're right,
yeah.
but right now looking back, I'm like, I can't believe I ever was. But I think after he got elected, it was like, okay, best case scenario. Let's just hope. I think I said, let's hope he does good. We should be.
Hmm.
What I said is, we should be rooting for him to succeed. Okay,
Yeah.
that was kind
And
of
then
my
a few
speech.
months in, it started getting bad, and we were just like, "Oh no,
No,
what is happening?"
it's
No,
start.
it was right when he started lying, when
No, it
he
was.
lied about his crowd size. That was the first thing. Sean
Yeah.
Spicer.
So in the period between November when he got elected and then when he took office, I was saying, let's root for him. Let's hope he does good. And then day one, he signed the Muslim ban. And then that same day, Sean Spicer came out and said this was the largest audience to ever view an inauguration, period, and like slammed the podium. And that was when I was like, all right, never mind. Like
Yeah.
this is off to a terrible start. So
Yeah. And then Biden got elected, and like the left was, they were starting to like settle in, and they're like, okay, things are like a little more peaceful. Like nobody really was like, yay, Joe Biden, but it was a little more
no,
calm.
I disagree. I'm going to tell you right now. The other night when we were about to record, I got a phone call from a buddy of ours, and I'm sorry it delayed us like 45 minutes. But he made a comment at one point in that call where he was like, I'm just sick of all the political stuff online. Like all these people that I know and I like, and I think he was talking about you. I think he was a veiled shot at you, but in general. And he was saying all this posting online. He said every time Trump's in office, all this, and I had to point out to him that I was like, hey. Like when Biden was in office, for me, Facebook was miserable because it was the same, I'm going to say 7 to 10 people that were constantly tweeting about Biden doing this and Biden doing that. Right wing people that were very unhappy Biden was in. And now that Trump's back in, now the left is going to complain online. And the next time when we get a Democrat, the right, it'll be their turn to complain online. And I think half of the country is always going to be complaining online from this day forward. Pre Trump, people didn't go on Facebook to talk about politics like at all. I don't think if they were, it wasn't showing up in my feed. But since 2015, when Trump arrived, Facebook is now a place where we take turns. Half the country at a time is whining about what they don't like in the government.
Yeah.
That's my
I'm not
thought.
really doing Facebook, but Instagram. I
Social
mean,
media. Sorry, social media,
yeah.
which I see a lot less of it on Instagram. Instagram. That's why my sister years ago she was like, Instagram is more peaceful for me because you go on and it's just pictures and it's nobody complaining. And like for the most part, that's how I view Instagram. Facebook is still the place where I see 90% of the political complaints.
That's because your algorithm is not
Thank God.
honed into that.
I
My
want to.
algorithm is so I've been posting public land stuff on my
Yep.
stories every day
Okay.
since this whole thing happened. And my whole feed, that's all it is. It's like public land. It's
Damn.
like, this, fishing organization and this hunting organization and this organization and this clean water organization and this organization. They're all like really coming together and posting a lot about
It's good. But
the selling off of public lands.
you know what never made sense to me is that the people that hunt, like the people that use public lands, tend to vote Republican, but like the whole they're trying to sell off our public lands thing, like when you mention that to them, they're like, "Man, I don't care." And it's like, "But you're of all the people I know, you're the one that should be mad
So
about this."
so the people that we know in Texas are
Okay.
like, man, because there's no public lands. There's not a lot of public lands in Texas.
Is that why? Okay.
Yeah. I think it's
Yeah, because
99% private land in Texas.
in Texas,
But the
everybody.
people, if you look at the map, the people um in my side of the state, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, California, Washington, Portland, or Oregon, Alaska, like
Yeah.
all of that land is up for grabs right now.
where the national
Utah's,
it's where the
go ahead.
national forests are. Like where the national forests are. If you look at a map, that seems to be the areas that are in question right now. And real quick, something that didn't hit me till I moved to Oklahoma. In Texas, everybody that we knew that hunted on a regular basis, for the most part, had a lease or had access to a deer
Mhm.
lease or a hunting lease, whatever you want to call
Yep,
it. And then when I got up here, there's in Oklahoma, there are a lot of public hunting lands, and like
sure.
nobody has a lease that I know, like at all. And it's just like, I guess if you were really rich, maybe you'd have a ranch that is also your lease, or it's your. I think
Mhm.
you own it at that point. I don't think there are leases in Oklahoma. I might be wrong. There could be some, but
There's probably some,
not on the
but
scale that there are in Texas.
right, and Colorado still has some, but we just have a lot more public land, so you
Yeah.
could go out and hunt public land. And like there's public land like if you go up to Wisconsin, like people get shot every year in Wisconsin, like on opening day because it's so crazy. Like
Yeah.
the public land is just so packed with people because there's not a lot of it, and so they
Mhm.
all go to that public land to hunt. And somebody mistakes somebody as a deer and shoots them, and it almost happens like every year.
Dude, like 15, 20 years ago, me and you went camping in the LBJ National Grasslands, and around every pond were just so many shotgun shells, so
Oh
many.
yeah,
And I remember I was thinking about it, and I was like, I wouldn't want to hunt here if this is how many morons, because if they're leaving their shells behind, they're morons, in my opinion. It was disgusting. But it's like, if this is
yeah.
how many morons are out here hunting, I don't want to be out here while they're all out here with guns. Like, that seems unsafe.
Well, remember that was like the first time you went camping as an adult, I think.
I think so, yeah.
And I remember like going out there and like, I think I just moved back from Austin and we went out there to check it out. And I remember getting out there and be like, oh, this is a pretty cool spot. And then you kind of like everything kind of quiets down and you just hear in the background, do-doon, do-doon,
Yeah.
do-doon, do-doon, and
You could hear the
all night long.
highway. Yeah, it was
No, no,
287,
no.
right?
It was an oil well.
Oh, is that what it was? Yeah.
It was
It
an
was loud.
oil well. Yeah, and it was all night long. And I was just like, this is what we don't want. We don't
Yeah.
want all these leases on this island to camp in a quiet area, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. This is what I'm fighting for. This is my big fight, that and the war now, I guess.
Which war?
Like, yeah, all of it.
Okay. Well,
All of
hey,
it.
real quick, there is breaking news that we have to talk about real quick off the top, okay? Number one, most important thing happening in America today, Big Balls. Remember Big Balls? He was a part of
I remember
Doge.
big balls.
Big
Okay.
Balls is
Yeah.
no longer working in government. And it's
Hmm.
it's it's unclear whether he resigned or was canned, escorted out. I don't know, but
Okay.
somehow a reporter noticed that he is no longer employed, and like nobody's given comment yet. So Big Balls is out.
I guarantee you, some country came to him with a sack full of
Oh
money and
God,
said, "Hey, you got all this information, like we'll buy it from you." And he
yeah,
went, "Okay," and he sold it to him.
that's what
Guarantee you.
I wonder if he like because the thing that people were accusing them of is that they were just downloading all our data onto hard
Yeah.
drives. So like. Did he ever leave with it? Like, does he have those, or like, did those all have to stay on premise? Like,
Nope.
I don't have faith that all of those are accounted for right now.
No,
So
they have all of
that's
our
what.
information. And the thing is Elon Musk has all of business, his competitors' information as well.
Okay, and Thomas Massey, I don't agree with. I don't agree with 60% of what Thomas Massey says. There's 40% I agree with, but he went on Theo Vaughn's podcast. This is the first time I've ever given him a chance. In the past, I've always said I don't agree with him, but I love the fact that he believes what he believes and he doesn't change his belief for whatever Trump says. Like he sticks to
Okay.
his gun. So I
Yeah,
I respect that. I don't agree with him. Actually, I gotta say, on Theo Vaughn, he was making sense on a lot of things. One thing that he said though that kind of stuck with me is he said, if you're in America, anytime you make a call, you have to assume that your own government, China, Russia, Israel, Amazon, and Facebook are all listening to what you're saying. They're all
sure.
monitoring your call. So those it was 5 or 6 entities, but he was like those. I'm gonna say 6. I didn't add them all up, but like those. Anytime you pick up your phone, just assume that those 6 entities are listening to you. It's
Sure.
your own country, 3 other countries, and 2 Facebook or 2 social medias. Isn't
Yeah.
that crazy?
No, completely. Yeah, and it makes sense. I mean, yeah, and they're just downloading our information so that so they can sell it to other companies.
If the worst of it is that they're going to do targeted advertising. Like I used to get mad when I'd be like, man, I was talking about this thing the other day and now my phone's showing me ads for it. But I gotta say, there's a part of me that's like kind of convenient. Like, oh shit, I was just saying I needed a new pair of binoculars and now there's binoculars and now I'm going to get binocular ads. My
It
phone's upsetting.
is. It
It's
is. But
kind of convenient.
do
If
you know
that's
how much money they're making because of that?
But what if that's the worst thing they're going to do to us? Like, I know that they're profiting off of our information and they shouldn't be, but if that's the worst thing is we're just going to get targeted content, like
No, you're thinking about this all wrong.
okay,
We've talked about this before, the wealth gap, right?
okay, yeah,
And
Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos are getting richer off of our
the
data.
wealth gap, yeah.
Yeah,
And why are they getting richer? It's because they have their information
mhm,
and let's just say REI knows that if they take out an ad on Facebook, they spend $100,000 on Facebook to take out an ad that Mark Zuckerberg knows what I want, what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a new sleeping bag.
yeah,
So they know that if that there's millions of people in the world looking for a new sleeping bag, and if they keep poking, REI is going to get that $100,000 back like twofold,
yeah,
and Zuckerberg's going to make $100,000 off of that one ad, right?
yeah,
So they're profiting off of our dumbasses like being just manipulated into buying stuff, right?
yeah,
Like I don't really need a new sleeping bag, but I would like a new sleeping bag. But if you keep pumping shit at me, like I
yeah.
might just buy a sleeping bag.
Let,
Oh,
let, let me
it's on
know.
sale, 20% off. Okay, I should do it.
Is your phone near you right now?
Yeah, it's right here.
Let me know next episode. Let us know when you saw the first sleeping bag ad because I feel
It's
like
gonna
it's
be
coming now. Yeah,
it'll probably be
I'm
tonight.
just saying
Yeah.
with all the doomsday stuff about like what could they be doing with our data? Like if that's the worst, we got off easy. I get what you're saying about
They just make us poorer and they get richer.
it's
That's
gonna
the worst thing.
that's the direction we're heading in right now, and I've yet to see
We're
any.
already there. We're 100%
We're
there.
there. It's getting worse. I haven't seen anybody really run on a platform that's going to fix that yet. The closest is that guy running in New York, and we're going to talk about him later. But that's the closest I've seen. Other than that, even if it's the Democrats recently, like for president, for example, it's been like the corporate Democrats that like they still want to give the tax cuts to the rich people. They got corporate donors, so I don't.
Oh,
Listening to
there
Thomas
you go.
Massey, his recently I've headed in a weird direction where I still hate Donald Trump, but I'm just becoming what do you? I don't like I'm anti-establishment. That's the word I was looking for. Like I'm kind of sick of all of them. Get them all. I wasn't there before. When I would always tell people like, hey, the system's not broken to the point where we have to throw it away. We just got to fix a couple things. But I got to tell you, man, I'm getting more and more down the path of like this system is broken. Like,
Welcome to the club, Andy.
yeah,
We
I'm
gotta
getting
fight the
there.
fight, bro. We gotta get in there.
Yeah,
Let's start protesting.
I'm getting
Break
there.
out your
Well,
fireworks.
I went to one protest and there's another one coming up, I guess. Anyhow, we got to talk about this real quick, and I'm so glad we didn't record over the past week, 12 days. The 12-day war just ended. I don't know if you saw Trump's trying to make that stick. I don't think it's
Did
gonna.
it did it actually end?
So that's a question mark right
Oh,
now.
yeah, I don't know
It's ceasefire
how
for
big.
now. But had we recorded any time in the last couple days, whatever I would have said would have been wrong by morning. Like things were changing so fast.
Yeah.
To back everybody up, Israel attacked Iran about 12 days ago. That went on for about 7 or 8 days. and then we finally struck Iran.
Well, Iran seemed to have a really good comeback. Like they were doing a good job of getting missiles through the Golden Dome, or was it called?
The Iron
Iron
Dome
Dome.
turned out to be more porous than anybody, what it really was Iran started running out of interceptors. Like at first they were intercepting like 90%, and then they stopped. They were started running low on interceptors, so they started having to be selective of what they were taking down. And I think at the end they were getting 60% of the missiles fired, and that's about half. So that there's missiles getting through at that point, and
Hmm.
the theory is that the whole reason that this stopped at this point is because Israel was running low on interceptors and Iran was running low on missiles. So they both were just running low on shit. And this is going to be like a couple months to a year for them to both like restock. And then at some point they're going to start again. And it's
Yeah.
all going to depend on Iran's nuclear program. But we'll talk about that here in a second. Trump came out Saturday night and gave his address. We all found out about the strikes at like 7 p.m. And then we find out Trump's going to speak to the nation at 10 or whatever it was. Do you remember
Hmm.
when Trump got al-Baghdadi, and there's all kinds of videos where they splice it up with Obama's video of getting bin Laden, but it was a pretty terrible, and it was like Abu Bakr Baghdadi is dead. He died like a dog, like that
Oh
whole
yeah. Oh yeah, I do remember that. He
yeah.
died like a
And then
dog.
towards the end of that, he was like, and I'm not going to get any credit for this. I never do. And like, it was kind of exactly what you don't want your president to come
Yeah.
out and do in that moment. It just wasn't good. So
Right.
Trump got a chance to redo it. Okay. He's got a big moment. He's coming out. In every video I've ever seen like this, the president comes out by himself. And normally they come from a door way down the hallway and we have to watch them like uncomfortably
Uh-huh.
walk
Oh
all the
yeah.
way up. Trump didn't Trump I'm glad he did this, but he cut the time down. They came out from a different door and were like right there at the podium. So we didn't have to see that whole thing. Um, but Trump also came out with JD Vance and Pete Hegseth or no
Yeah, they looked
Rubio.
like a boy band. They were like staggered, kind of like
What
a boy band photo
I
shoot would be.
I think it was to show that there was unity in the White House. Like they all agreed on this decision. I think that's the message they were trying to show, but it was just
Yeah.
weird because the president always comes out alone.
Yeah.
And when he brought them out, I assumed they were going to speak. And no, they were just there to literally have his back. And then Trump
Hmm.
spoke and it was over. But I got two clips from this real quick. In this first clip, there's a lot to notice, but Trump can't read the word nuclear. I've noticed this a lot. He can say it. If he's just talking, if stream of consciousness talking, he can say nuclear, no problem. But if he's reading off a teleprompter, the word nuclear always gets him. So notice that here. But this is from the White House's feed.
A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the three key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime: Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace.
Isn't Trump and JD Vance supposed to be like separated?
For like the continuity of government, like if one of them gets taken out, kind of thing.
Yeah, I thought they were supposed
Uh,
to be kind of, they're not
no,
supposed to be in the same building all the time, right?
No, that's not the president and vice president. Like supposedly, like the tradition is they have lunch together once a week. Like that's gone back for several
Oh, okay.
presidents. But there is the continuity of government. Like when the State of the Union happens, they always have what's called the designated survivor, and like one person in the succession chain has to be like out of Washington like that night because you have all of them. Basically, you have all of them in one building. And if that building got hit by a nuke or a bomb or whatever, like our entire
Oh,
continuity of government, our secession line is gone. And it's
yeah.
always somebody weird like the energy secretary. Like I remember one year it was Rick Perry. Like it was like Rick
Oh,
Perry's in a bunker somewhere like on the other side of the country. And if that building gets blown up, Rick Perry's president. Like
whoa,
yeah.
okay. I didn't know
So
that. That's good.
yeah, it's always somebody way down the line.
Huh.
Anyhow, the main thing to notice there, we're going to get back to later, but Trump said it was a complete military success and that their entire nuclear program was obliterated. Okay, we're going to get back to that in a minute.
Yeah.
Also, as soon as he said that, military people on TV and on Twitter and everywhere were like, "Hey, we don't use words like obliterated, and there's no way they know yet how successful it was. So immediately following this, the question was, because we've never tested these or we've tested them, but we've never used these bunker bombs, bunker
Yeah.
busters in actual combat. So we've tested them in the deserts of Arizona. This is buried. We don't even know how deep. We think like 300 meters, but we're not sure. Could be 200, could be more. We don't know how many layers of concrete there are. Like, we don't know much about this.
Yeah, you
So
think if they're building it under a mountain, they're worried about the bunker buster bomb, and they've probably reinforced it to withstand the bunker buster bomb
it's
that we
exactly why.
have.
It's exactly why they built it, because there was a period back in the day where Israel kept hitting their nuclear sites, like, and this was like the early 2000s, like while Iraq was going on, like every now and then Israel would just do a sneak attack on Iran's nuclear sites. So they learned from that and they put it in the side of a mountain. Now, even before the strike, the question was being talked about on all the news channels of, can these bunker busters actually reach the depth they need to? So that this was being talked about. Trump immediately comes out and says obliterated. Everybody that knows anything about this says, hey, there's no way they have it's called a BDA, a battle damage assessment. Like, there's no way one of those has been completed yet. So anyhow, we're gonna get back
Well,
to
hold on.
that.
And
Yeah, go
and
ahead.
here, this is where I'm very disappointed in our country. Like, you're gonna go and bomb Iran because Iran, sorry. I keep saying
I'm gonna say Iran.
it's Iran.
Okay.
That's how you say it. Um, because of Netanyahu's information saying that they're producing uranium to 90% instead of 60%. Okay, our information isn't there,
Yeah.
but they're there, but we're gonna bomb them anyway. Why is there not just like they're already being checked up on by the World Nuclear Organization or
The
whatever.
IAEA, yes. Like,
Why can't we, like, why wouldn't we, as a humane society, say, hey, we have this intel, like, we want to send our troops in, our people in to test your nuclear facilities. Like, we want full reign. We want you guys out of there. We're going to take full reign of this for 2 weeks, and we're going to test whatever we need to test, and we're going to do what we need to do to make sure you're not doing that. And if you don't allow us to, or you are, then we're going to bomb you. Like, there should be a warning in place. Like, Iran seems to, they just seem to be, they're being bullied, right?
so the warning that Trump did give for a week or so was that they needed to just completely dismantle their nuclear program right now. He said that, or it was going to be destroyed. He was saying that for like a week leading up to the strikes.
Yeah, but 2 days before that, he was saying they should be able to have a civilian nuclear
Yeah, he went
power.
back and forth with it. He hasn't said that in the last 3 weeks or so, but before that, he was going back and forth on whether or not they should. But also, like, the whole deal, the JCPOA, Obama's Iran deal, was that not only did they have to have inspections by the IAEA, they also had to have inspections by the UN, and because they're never going to let America or Israel go into there, but somebody unbiased, the UN inspections team. So
Hmm.
the UN was inspecting it too, and according to the UN and the IAEA, like, they were not in violation of the treaty at all. Now, as soon as Trump ended the Iran deal, they are allowed to enrich to 60%. Like, there's nothing stopped. They can enrich however much they want because Trump pulled out of the deal, and that was
Trump allowed them to reach to 60%.
by pulling out of the deal. We can't tell them what to do now. That's
Right.
so anyhow. So but Trump was saying, hey, you either dismantle it or we're coming in there. And he was saying that his tone changed over the last couple of weeks, but he said they cannot have a nuclear program at all. Like, that's where he was the last 2 or 3 weeks. So anyhow, real quick, the second part of Trump's address. This is just interesting. The order that he thanks people in. Check this out again from the White House.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades.
What does Netanyahu have on him, man?
Dude, to take it a step further, did you see the Trump truth post tonight about Netanyahu?
Uh-uh.
Okay, hold on.
Oh my gosh. I mean,
Yeah.
he really just is like right up Netanyahu's butt. Like,
So
I
Netanyahu,
don't.
you know how Netanyahu's been facing like trials because of all kinds of corruption stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, is he doing trials?
So when he won the presidency or whatever he is over there, when he became the leader of Israel, um, then he basically was able to delay those.
No.
Let me see. Kyle Kalinske. Here we go. I know I don't have Truth Social clearly, so I'm not going to read this whole thing. But this is a Trump truth from 4 o'clock this afternoon. Breaking news. I was shocked to hear that the state of Israel, which has just had one of its greatest moments in history and is strongly led by Bibi Netanyahu, is continuing its ridiculous witch hunt against their great wartime prime minister, Bibi. Bibi and I just went through hell together, fighting a very tough and brilliant longtime enemy of Israel, Iran. And Bibi could not have been better. I'm not going to keep going, but basically
Oh my
the
gosh.
trial is set for Monday. It's going to pick back up, and he said later, Bibi Netanyahu's trial should be canceled immediately, or a pardon given to a great hero who has done so much for the state. Perhaps there is no one that I know who could have worked better in harmony with the President of the United States, me, than Bibi Netanyahu. And it goes on from there.
Trump loves his pardons, man.
This travesty of justice cannot be allowed. So that's how the world learned that Bibi's case is picking back up on Monday, and Trump is calling for a pardon or a cancellation of the trial,
Who's
based
trying
off
him?
how great Bibi is doing. Now, let's not even talk about Gaza right now because that's a hmm. But
Yeah.
the
That-
Israel thing, they launched an attack against Iran, who they thought really couldn't hit them back. Tel Aviv has gotten knocked around for the past 12 days, 13 days, whatever it is. Like they took some damage. Like I think the people are not happy over there. I don't know. Maybe they are.
Yeah, well, I was watching this one guy recently, and he's been interviewing people in Israel.
Okay.
Like, I think he's getting on these like, there's like a some sort of app that you can get on, and it just randomly selects people, or maybe you're in like these chat rooms or something, but you like get selected with people. And
Yeah.
like, I don't know, I've seen a few of these people on YouTube, and
Okay.
this guy gets on with, he's going for like Israelis, and he is Palestinian, and every time he says that, they he was talking to like five or six like school children, girls
Mm.
that were like, I don't know, 8, 9, 10, and as soon as he said, "Yeah, I'm Palestinian," they went, "Eh," and they like started like throwing, and they hung up on him,
Yeah.
right? And then he was talking to a soldier, and this was the weirdest one. He was talking to this soldier, and the soldier was saying, he was asking the soldier like, you're a soldier, like why are you killing the women and children? And he's like, we want to kill the women and children, we want to kill everybody.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't hold up, and the guy said, you're indoctrinated. You've been taught this since you were born, like you're indoctrinated that the Palestinians are bad people. And he's like, we need to kill all of them, we need to make it a resort. Like,
Yeah.
and this guy is just like zoned in on like killing all
Dude,
Palestinians.
but there's also I could find you a lot of videos of people in Palestine that are like death to all the Jews. They
I don't blame them at this
But
point.
I'm just saying the people in Gaza, which I've corrected you so many times when you say Gazans, it's Palestinians.
Sorry.
But no, but on the news recently, like 3 different times, people have referred to them as Gazans. So you might have been right. I'm just gonna say I don't know. But
Yeah.
the Gazans and the Israeli Jews, they both hate each other. Same
Yeah.
with the Israeli Jews and the people in Iran. They both hate each other. Like the death to America, death to Israel is very real.
Yeah. Israel doesn't need to be there. Like there's I
Be
don't get
careful.
this.
Be careful. You're calling for the destruction of Israel. This could get you in some trouble here.
Well, they're surrounded like by people who hate them, and they
They
hate everybody they're surrounded by.
it wasn't a good setup. When Britain, America, and France kind of put this together in like 1948, and like it was a bad idea. If we could go back in time, we should have given them somewhere else. Right in the Middle East is not the spot to put but they did it because that's the Holy Land, and I get it. But like looking back, we probably could have
I,
avoided this.
I mean, it's kind of like having like a white white supremacist Nazi house right in the middle of Southside Chicago
Yeah,
or
it
like
would.
Compton or something, you know?
All of our neighbors keep getting mad at us. Like, yeah, no, they hate you. Like, yeah, there's okay. Anyhow, all right. So we attack Iran. Everybody gets scared that and I was one of them. I was like, this. We're gonna lose troops in the Middle East. Like, there's gonna be some strikes and some injuries. And I think I told you the next day. I said it's not gonna be World War III. The people are saying that are crazy, but it's gonna be another Iraq or Afghanistan where we're gonna get drawn in and be there for a decade. That was my fear, and I felt very confident. Like Saturday night, I talked to you, I talked to my mom, I talked to a couple people, and that was my prediction. Is like this is about to be another Iraq. Right now, it looks like we might not be headed that way. Trump. So first, Iran strikes back. We knew it was going to happen, but they strike in Doha, Qatar, where our largest military base is. But then we find out almost right away that, like, oh, they gave us advanced warning. We got time. Basically, they wanted to symbolically strike back to show their people that they struck back, but they didn't want to risk actually killing Americans because they knew that that would then be Donald just lighting up Tehran.
It's so
So
stupid.
it is, but so, and I think both sides are doing some performance here. Like Trump is like, we obliterated it, and the intelligence community is like, well, we don't know, and he's like, no, 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 we obliterated it because he wants his people to believe that. And
Hmm.
Iran is like, we had a successful strike against America, and they didn't, but just tell your people that. And in Iran, it works because in Iran, there's not freedom of the press. They don't have outside news and stuff. So if the supreme leader comes on TV and says, hey, we just hit America's base in Qatar, like the people are like, yes. And that's so they believe it. In America, you can't, it's not as easy. Trump would
But they're
love it.
still just like forming a like hatred towards Americans.
Dude, real quick, I think it's very logical that right now, I don't think Iran was working towards a nuke a couple weeks ago, but they are sprinting towards a nuke right now.
Yeah.
There's been in the recent history, there's a couple countries that have agreed to give up their nukes, and then as soon as they do, America overthrows them, but through proxies and stuff. Libya was the most recent example. But like, you know what country has a nuke that we really don't like and we would replace if we could, but they have a nuke? What country?
North Korea.
North Korea. And the only reason that they're still there is because they have a nuke. And if you're the leadership in Iran, you're looking at North Korea going, that's what we need to do. We need a nuke quick. So
Yeah,
they're
and they want a nuke not to use it on anybody, but just
for
to have the
protection.
nuke to, yeah, it's protection.
Yeah.
It's like it's just your safety shield,
Yeah.
right? It's like you do this, like we have a nuke, like we can,
So
and it's kind of a stupid game that we play with all these countries. Like, okay, we all have nukes, we can all destroy each other, so now we're gonna
it's
behave.
it's called
But aren't our religions like behave making us behave? Like, but no, we need nukes to behave? I don't get this.
it's called what is it? The theory of assured mutual destruction. Like
Yeah.
if us and Russia both have nukes, then neither of us can use them. That's the
What would
theory.
Jesus say about that theory?
He would say, "Give every country nukes." No, I'm sure. I don't have any clue. I don't have any clue. But real and on that train of thought, Iran passed a bill today to suspend coordination with the IAEA, which is the only international group that's monitoring their nuclear program. And they voted today saying we're not working with them anymore. And when they passed the vote, they all cheered and started chanting "Death to America, Death to Israel." So things are going to be fine. Trump was saying the other day that this is going to be a lasting peace that lasts for decades and this and that. No, we got months to a year, I think, before shit goes bad. As soon as Israel and Iran
Dude,
resupply, like I think it's going to be on again.
yeah, and I had no idea how much Trump wants the Nobel Peace Prize.
Dude,
He
he's
wants it
wanted it
so bad.
his whole first term, he was talking about it, and he wanted to do something that could get him nominated. And they nominated him the other day for this Iran Gaza or what is it? Iran Israel ceasefire.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did. Apparently, it takes very little to nominate somebody. And
Okay.
one of the like the congressmen from the South officially nominated him for it. Now the
Oh, okay.
like the people that vote on that, I'm going to go out of the limb. I'm going to say I don't think we're in danger of Trump winning a Nobel Peace Prize, but he's going to get nominated every
It's
time
not
he runs.
danger. At this point, I'm like, should we just give it to him just to make him happy? Like,
If
hey, what if we negotiate? Trump, you step out of office, we'll give you
no,
this Nobel Peace Prize
I'll tell you what.
if you step out of the office.
If he ends Ukraine and Russia in a way that's not a total loss for Ukraine, I will sign on to give him one. But he ain't gonna do that. But
At this point, like the way he treated Zelensky
at
in the
this point,
he deserves it.
him
I
and
don't think he
Zelensky,
deserved it.
him and Zelensky met at NATO like yesterday, and Trump said that it was a very good conversation. He said he likes him. He said they had their troubles before, but they got along. And then a reporter, so a reporter that is Ukrainian got to ask him a question at
I saw
NATO, and
that.
when she said that she was Ukrainian, he was like, "Are you still there?" And she said, "No, me and my kids left and went to Warsaw, but my husband's still there." And she was
Hmm.
kind of holding back tears, and
Totally.
she asked if they were going to give Patriot missiles, and Trump actually said, like, "We're going to see what we can do. We're going to try." Like, he didn't say no. There's
He's
a,
going to give them all to Israel because Israel needs them
yeah,
more than, yeah, isn't it? And Israel,
I
for some reason, Israel has something over Trump. I don't know
per
if it's money or if it's a Jeffrey Epstein type situation, but they have something over
it's
Trump.
I'll say this. I'm very pro Ukraine and I would like us to keep some because we have a peace treaty with Ukraine. We said give up your nuke and we will defend you against Russia. And now
Mm.
Russia's attacking. This was way back in 94, but like that's the deal. Give up your nuke and we will make sure Russia never invades you. Now they're getting invaded and we're kind of not helping. That's BS on our part. So
Yeah,
that's
very
my thing.
much.
But if I today yesterday, I think it was, maybe it was yesterday or today when he was at NATO. That was the most optimistic I've been about Ukraine in a while. And it's probably all for nothing, but he didn't say no. Like he seemed like he might be. And he even said at one point, he said, "Yeah, I think Putin's not handling this well." But they asked him if he thinks that Putin has his eyes on expansion past Ukraine. And he goes, "Yeah, I'm starting to think he does," which everybody knows that. But Trump keeps saying, "No, no, no." But now so I think
Well,
Putin
here's the deal. If and how long have they been at war? 3 years now?
since 22. No, wait, 22 was the October 7th Hamas attack. So
Either way,
21
it's
maybe.
been a long time, and Russia doesn't really seem to be making a lot of ground.
They are slowly moving forward, but it's not fast like they thought. But they are
Super slow.
winning. The lines are advancing in Russia's favor,
Yeah.
but it's just a slugfest.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so how long can Russia hold off? That's the thing. And or keep fighting. And also like uh Europe. If they make once they start making Europe's going to start helping them out a lot
Well,
more, right?
Europe's giving them 5 billion in assistance, and that was what just got decided at NATO. So they're giving 5 billion. That's going to
5
help.
billion in like tanks
Yeah,
and
military
armory and all
assistance.
that
Yeah.
stuff. Huh.
So
Yeah.
it's Ukraine still has a chance and they're not going to win. They're not going to get all their land back, but I just want to minimize the damage here. But let's save Ukraine for another night because we're not even halfway done with Israel and Iran yet. So let me try to fly
Gosh.
through this real quick. Um,
Israel.
so Trump gets a ceasefire. Okay, this is the
Yay.
day after they fired missiles at our base in Qatar. Trump gets a ceasefire. He calls it. He says, "Let us mark the end of the 12-day war," and he instantly tries to make that stick. Like he really likes the sound because there was the 6-day war back in the 60s, I want to say. He likes the
Hmm.
12-day war, and he said, "This is they're never going to shoot at each other again." And he had this really weird formula, like Iran's going to cease fire in 12 hours, and like 2 hours after that, Israel's going to. It wasn't like a set time. It was a staggered ceasefire somehow. And
Interesting.
Iran came right out and said, "No, we don't have a ceasefire with anybody. If Israel stops shooting at us, we'll stop shooting at them, but we're not shooting until they stop." And so
Hmm.
the ceasefire time came, and they were both still shooting at each other. I guess Trump woke up and missiles were still hitting, and the ceasefire should have been on. My favorite Trump interview of this whole term happened that next morning, and you can tell he woke up in a bad mood. He woke up and turned on the news. Normally, when he's going to a helicopter to get on a plane to fly overseas to NATO, he's not wearing a tie. I don't want to say he looks disheveled. He looks grumpy. Check this out real quick. This is from C-SPAN.
Israel says that Iran violated the peace agreement and the ceasefire agreement. Do you believe that Iran is still committed to peace?
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
Are you questioning if Israel is committed?
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
Do you plan to respond to Iran?
Yeah, he's you know what? I think Trump's not a morning person. And that's early. Like
So
that's the sun is coming up.
there,
He's
I don't know if you
He's like,
remember, but supposedly his schedule, his whole first term was that he apparently he wakes up at like 6 a.m. But he wakes up and he watches the news from like 6 until like 9, and
in
then
bed.
somebody I in the residence. I don't know if he's in bed.
Oh,
He's in the residence. But then like a team comes in, a couple people, and they do his hair and makeup, and then he makes it into the Oval Office for the first time at like 10:30 to 11 every morning. Like that's when he gets to that. Now he's up and he's tweeting and he's probably taking phone calls, but he's like watching the news, probably on his couch in the residency with Fox News on. Um,
so does he? I mean, because sometimes he's tweeting at like 2 in the morning. Like
I don't know when he sleeps. The rumors
weird.
about him supposedly like being on like Adderall or some form of like speed like that seems so true to me just because it's like when is he like I go to bed and he's tweeting and then I sleep for 6 hours and I wake up and he's been tweeting the whole time like
Yeah, but
what
there's a crash. Adderall. There's a crash with Adderall.
I don't know when maybe he's got the best genes in the history of evolution. I don't know, but the man operates well for how little sleep it seems like he's getting.
At 80 whatever years old. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
you got to give him that. Is he's
I give
the
him credit. Yeah.
energy off the charts? I got to think, and he drinks Diet Coke like crazy. Maybe it's what is it like?
Aspartate.
Yeah, something's keeping him going.
It's
So
keeping him alive.
yeah.
Uh,
Hey,
oh. Is that the first time he's ever like said the F word in an angry manner?
so he said it at rallies, I believe,
But not
but
angry like
not
that.
to the media like that. Like he seemed pissed, and that proves something real quick because several times it's like, hey, why don't you tell Israel to stop? Killing civilians in Gaza or whatever it is. And he's always like, oh, like I can't control them. No, he immediately got on the helicopter and called Bibi. There were planes en route to Tehran to drop more bombs. He called him, chewed his ass by all accounts, and told him to turn those planes around. And they did. They turned around mid-mission and came back and didn't drop the bombs.
Oh,
So hey,
finally Trump grows a pair.
it,
Okay.
it turns out that Trump has the power to tell Bibi to stop it. So now do that with the Palestinians in Gaza. Come on. Stop killing
Yeah.
women and children.
Yes.
So
Somebody needs to show Trump all the videos of children
yeah.
their heads being blown off. Like, oh man. Okay.
So
So
hey,
there's something. I mean, and maybe Trump, I think Trump might be angry because he's getting so much. Did you see? I don't know who it is, but this blonde lady at the G7 was mocking him. Like,
was it when Macron was like whispering to her and she like rolled her eyes or whatever? Or talking about that lady?
no, this is another
Oh,
one. She
no.
I forget what Trump, yeah, I forget what it was, but she like looked straight into the camera and like whatever
Was
Trump
she
said
was she
before,
one of the leaders or was she like a staffer that
one
was
of the
there?
leaders.
Well, then if the only blonde lady, if she was she kind of cute? Was she like
I think so, yeah.
so? She's the head of Italy, and I don't remember her name right
Oh
now.
yeah.
But yeah, that's who it had to have
That's
been.
right.
I didn't
That's
see
right.
that clip, but yeah, no,
It's
there
so
was
good.
there was a clip where when he walked into the room, like Macron turned and whispered something to her, and she like rolled her eyes real big, and
Uh-huh.
I saw that. I didn't see the other one, so
Yeah, that one was a little less noticeable. Like a
yeah,
little less, yeah, I'm not sure if she was actually saying something about Trump, but this one was really good. I should have pulled it, but um
yeah.
she yeah, I think he's just getting like his ass handed to him around the world. And he's just realizing like, oh, like these people are serious and
It's
I'm kind of a joke.
it seems like NATO kind of right now, because he was even saying good things about NATO, and he was saying,
Right?
man, he said my opinion has changed. These people all really care about their country.
Yeah.
So let's root for Trump here. He left NATO saying some things that I was really happy to hear him say. So I got to give him
Dude,
credit when he says that. Now before we go any further with praise for Trump, I'm still a little concerned about where we are with Israel and Iran mainly. I should have said Iran. Um, real quick question. What's the current state of Iran's nuclear program? Nobody knows. They had 800 pounds of uranium enriched to 60%, which is not weapons grade, but it's higher than it needs to be for civilian. And they apparently got that out of Fordow, the main nuclear site, before we bombed it.
that information came from where?
So we have satellite imagery of trucks, like big trucks, like the loading docks there, apparently removing stuff. We assume it was I think they said they got it all out, but then we also have the satellite imagery of trucks, and we have signals intelligence, which is like intercepting calls and whatnot, of them talking about getting it out. So it seems very much like
This
Before
is
we
before he bombed it, they got it
before
out?
we bombed them, we already knew it was being reported everywhere that they were getting their enriched uranium out of there. Okay, so that was being reported.
This
Now,
is such a stupid game, and it's like they're playing a game with themselves. Like, no, the people don't care.
one the reason people are saying basically Trump telegraphed the strike. Like he started talking about, I don't know, we might strike them, we might not. Like
Right.
they're going to get their
Two
stuff out of
weeks.
there just to see, just in case, get as much as you can out of there. And it's one of those where if Trump could have just shut his mouth, like if you're going to bomb their facility, stop talking about it. Like stop talking about it.
He was warning them.
Yeah. So they got
Yeah.
it all out. Now Trump Trump's a little mad. The what is it called? I can't the DIA. I can't remember what that stands for. Defense Intelligence Agency. So it's going to take weeks before, and we might not ever know how much we really destroyed any of the three facilities, but mainly Fordo, the one built into a mountain. Okay, but we get the
Mhm.
first assessment, and this is not a complete assessment at all. But the first assessment says we don't know that the bombs penetrated all the way to their facility, and we think we probably only sent them back a couple months. 3 to 6 months, maybe 8 is kind of what it said. Okay. Everybody
Yeah.
reports on that. Trump is pissed. Okay. Because Trump came out immediately and said it's obliterated. Now there's a chance we might not have gotten it. You know how when somebody, there's an old comedy bit about this, but you can tell when somebody is telling the truth based off how pissed they get. Like Trump got a little too defensive right away to where I'm starting to say, I think this intelligence might be right. I think we might not have gotten to it because he got
Totally.
pissed. Here's a video real quick of Trump. I couldn't figure out where this is from, but check this out real quick.
I think it's been completely demolished. I think the reason we're here is because those pilots, those B-2 pilots, did an unbelievable job. And you know, the fake news, like CNN in particular, they're trying to say, well, I agree that it was destroyed, but maybe not that destroyed. You know what they're doing? They're really hurting great pilots that put their lives in the line. CNN is scum, and so is MSDNC. They're all, and frankly, the networks aren't much better. It's all fake news, but they should not have done that. Those pilots hit their targets. Those targets were obliterated, and the pilots should be given credit. They're not after the pilots, they're after me. They want to try and demean.
You don't believe that Iran can rebuild its nuclear program?
Iran will never rebuild its nuclear. From there? Absolutely not. That place is under rock. That place is demolished. The B-2 pilots did their job. They did it better than anybody could even imagine. They hit late in the evening. It was dark with no moon, and they hit that target with every one of those things, and that place is gone. But when I see CNN all night long, they're trying to say, well, maybe it wasn't really as demolished as we thought. It was demolished. You take a look at the pinpricks, and you see that place is gone. And I will say, I think CNN ought to apologize to the pilots of the B-2s. I think that MSDNC ought to apologize. I think these guys really, these networks and these cable networks are real losers. You really are. You're real losers.
Israel says that they violated the peace agreement.
You're gutless losers. I say that to CNN because I watch it. I have no choice. I got to watch that garbage. It's all garbage. It's all fake news. But I think CNN is a gutless group of people. And the people that run it, nobody even knows it's been sold so many times. But the people that run it ought to be ashamed. MSDNC, a guy named Brian Roberts, he heads it. He's a disgrace. He's a weak, pathetic disgrace.
First of all, the dude has more information than all the news organizations put together. He does not have to watch the news. He should put away the news.
That
And
was going to be my
second of all,
first point. He said, I have to watch this stuff. No, stop watching cable news. Like,
just stop.
I'm glad you picked up on that because that was my main point. So sorry, continue.
Well, and here's the next thing is he has all the information. And like I assume that most presidents tell us what they want us to know,
Okay.
but they're not lying to us.
Okay.
Trump in his first administration lied over 30,000 times. And so we can't trust a word that comes out of his mouth. We can't trust him to tell us what he ate for lunch.
Well, just common sense. Let's look at just this lie. Common sense when he comes out right away and says it's been obliterated. How do we know that? We have no clue how deep it is. Did we have people there on site to watch it, and then they immediately ran in and looked, and yep, everything's blown up
That
in
was
here.
my initial thought. I was like,
Yeah.
how do we know? Yeah.
So common sense should tell you that for him, and what it is he came out and went a little too far with what he said. And instead of saying, well, backtracking, no, Trump is the king of doubling down. So now it has been obliterated. And he even had Pete Hegseth come out today at NATO and back him up. And I love the fact that he's trying to turn this into like, it's beyond. I was going to say he's trying to turn it into like you're un-American if you say it didn't work, but it's not even that. You're talking crap about our military. You're talking bad about our fine pilots. Like I love how he tried to go there.
Right. Whoa.
Nobody's saying that these pilots weren't that the bombs were not dropped precisely on target. Nobody's saying that. The pilots don't control if the bombs go down to the right depth or how deep into the mountain it's built. So I never heard anybody say anything about the military doing a bad job. The question is, how deep was it built? Do we know if the bombs made it all the way there to do the damage? That's the question. That,
Well, here's the thing. The United States is on a losing streak right now under Trump. Like
okay.
we've pretty much lost the tariff war with every country.
Hey,
There's no
there's like 7 days left, okay, till 90
Yeah.
days. We got
That's
one deal,
number
kind
one.
of.
We've lost all tariff wars. We've lost 90 tariff wars.
We haven't
We
lost
even
yet.
we lost a tariff war with penguins. Okay.
I'll admit it's not looking good, but we have like 7 days left, and
Okay.
we can still get a trade deal with the Penguins.
Okay.
You don't
Okay.
know that the Penguins won yet, okay?
It's not looking good.
Yeah,
It's not looking good.
Not
Okay.
looking good.
We'll give it 7 more days. We couldn't beat the Houthis.
Okay.
They
What?
controlled their own airspace and they ran us out of there with our tail between our legs pretty much.
I don't know that they control the airspace, but go ahead.
I think that was one of the calls was like we couldn't control their airspace, so
Go
we
because
could we
they don't
didn't and
have.
we don't want to put troops on the ground. We were just trying to bomb stuff.
I don't think that they have like an air force flying around. It's just that they have great surface. They have a lot of surface to air missiles, and
Sure.
it's a dangerous for us to
It's
try to.
super dangerous.
Yeah,
We if one plane goes down,
yeah.
there's a lot for him to answer to, right? So we
Okay,
pulled out.
true.
We
Got it.
pulled out. We backed out. We lost that battle.
Okay.
And now our bunker bomb, the biggest bomb in the world, that's not a nuclear bomb, didn't really do its job.
It might have though, and that's the thing is we don't know.
Okay.
It
We
it
don't know. We
it
don't
very
trust what
well.
he said. We can't trust what Trump says, and we can't trust what the media says.
But I'd say there's just as good a chance that it did that it didn't. We don't know. That's like the intelligence assessment right now is we don't really know. That's what got leaked is like we don't know that it got all the way there. We don't think it set him back very far. We might later find out that it did, but right now we
But
don't know.
also, our strategic deployment was so bad that they were able to get all their nuclear material out of there before
Yeah,
we bombed them, right?
we think it seems likely, but we don't know that. We don't even know
Okay.
that.
So
Maybe they didn't move it. We don't know.
we don't know, but it seems like we're on a losing streak here. Like
Yes.
we're about to have like 3 or 4 losses in a row.
If you asked any Trump voter right now, they would say it's been a winning streak for the last 5 months. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I know.
Well, real quick on this leak, I'm going to read a little bit of Carolyn Levitt's statement, but this alleged assessment, alleged meaning it might not be real, is flat out wrong. By the way, I like it when they say this alleged and then they refer to the leak, and then as she does here, they say they're going to investigate the leak. Well, if it's a leak, then that means it was truthful, but let's wait on that. This
Okay.
alleged assessment is flat out wrong and was classified as top secret. It was classified as top secret, but it was flat out wrong. But was still leaked to CNN by an anonymous low-level loser. Trump likes to call people losers, and then his people parrot him. An anonymous low-level loser in the intelligence community. The leaker of this alleged again, like it might not be real, assessment is a clear attempt to demean President Trump and discredit the brave fighter pilots who conducted a perfectly executed mission to obliterate Iran's nuclear program. Everyone knows what happens when you drop 14 30,000-pound bombs perfectly on their targets.
Everybody knows.
Total obliteration. That's an official statement from the press secretary.
Yeah, you
They're-
bombed
they're-
a mountain. You bombed a mountain. And like, okay, so Carolyn Levitt is now saying low-level loser.
We don't know who leaked it. It could have been a high-level loser. I don't know.
Yeah, but this is what she's saying. Like,
Yeah.
could you imagine, like, when we were growing up, if your mom was like talking about somebody at the church saying, like, well, she's a low-level loser. Like, could
Yeah.
you imagine that? Like, it's just rude and like just
they all take on the tone of Trump. Like that's the thing I've learned is they all
They're
like that
horrible. They're
that's
all horrible people. This is the
that
thing.
that sounded like it came straight from Trump, but that was her. But
Right.
she is a chameleon and she's talking like Trump now. Low level loser. We all know what happens. Clearly, it was obliterated. So
But that's a bad person, right?
yeah,
If you have to stoop to just calling people names, like you're in the wrong. You're losing
yeah,
that yeah. You don't
I
call
agreed.
people names. Okay.
I agree. All right, we're gonna end it on this. It's the last video. We're gonna get off Iran after this, but Trump had to take the whole "we're insulting the pilots" thing a step further. There was a guy named Jacob Wall, I think, who was like a right wing. He was trying to be an Alex Jones, but he was early 20s, like young kid. But he kept holding these press conferences where he was going to expose the Democrats, and nothing ever happened. Anyhow, he's a person that I love to pay attention to. But he always used to he'd have these tweets where it's like, I was just in San Francisco in a liberal coffee shop, and I heard two liberals talking about how much they love Donald Trump. And it was always like the joke was like, another thing that definitely did not happen. Anyhow, Trump had a Jacob Wool moment. He's going to tell us about a thing that I'll let you tell me. Did this happen or not? All right. This is, oh, by the way, this is from News Nation.
I got a call from Missouri, great state, that I won 3 times by a lot. And I got a call that the pilots and the people on the plane were devastated because they were trying to minimize the attack. And they all said it was hit. But we don't think it was really maybe hit that badly. And they were devastated. They put their lives on the line, and then they have, and I'm not referring to you, but real scum come out and write reports that are as negative as they could possibly be. It should be the opposite. You should make them heroes and heroines. You should make them really people that they were so devastated when they heard this news. And you know what they said? One of them, I spoke to one of them, said, "Sir, we hit the site. It was perfect. It was dead on." Because they don't understand fake news, because they have a normal life, except they have to fly very big, very fast planes. But it's a shame. You should be making them heroes.
Do you think there's any chance that that Trump talked to the pilots, or that anybody from the base in Missouri called the president and said, President Trump, the boys that flew the mission, they're really down on themselves right now because people are saying that they didn't do a good enough job. Do you think there's any way that call happened?
No.
He's just making shit up.
Well, maybe. I don't know. Under the Trump, like, how many actually good generals quit because of Trump or got fired? He fired a lot of them.
I don't think many of them quit. A lot of them got removed because they were seen
this
as.
is the thing is we're working with Pete Hegseth, who has very little military experience, if you ask me. And then you got Marco Rubio, who does he have military experience, or is he just pretending like he's got a big dick?
No, Rubio, he has served on the the Foreign Intelligence Committee and like the Armed Forces. Like he's served on different committees. He never served, but he's been on committees that oversee them.
He wants to play war.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got all these like fake.
Hegseth was he was a fighter.
Sure.
I've said this before. Like, there's a lot of like ex-Navy SEALs that have podcasts, like political podcasts now. And it's like, I love our Navy SEALs, and like I love that they have a very specific job. Like they kill bad guys, but like they also shouldn't be the ones making high-level decisions. Like the two things aren't compatible.
No.
So like, oh, now they're going to tell me what they think about politics. Like I don't care what their politics are. I want them to want to kill people. That's what they do.
There's a lot of grunts under one person. And then from there it keeps going up, and yeah.
Anyhow,
and I don't think Pete Hegseth was not like a he was just a grunt, right? He was just,
I don't. He might have been a sergeant or something. I don't know. He wasn't super high up military wise. Like he carried the gun and he knocked.
He wasn't in charge of strategic implementation within our military.
Wasn't making war plans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's who you want in that position, right?
Yeah.
You want somebody who is strategic and knows how to play chess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same with the president, I guess. We're screwed. And they're just making us look like buffoons.
Agreed. All right, let's get off of Iran. I'm sorry that took so long, but there's a lot going on. Also, I'm just going to say again, I think that the peace is going to be short-lived. let's see here. Thomas Mass. Oh, wait, hold on. I do have one more. Sorry. I got one more thing on Iran, and then I promise I'll leave this. But I started to say last time kind of the history of like every time a country hates us, and I love it because we do this thing where like they hate us because of our freedom, or they hate the West because of freedom. It's like, no, there's normally a reason they hate us. And it's normally like, if you want to get down to it, it's normally something we did to them that like, it's kind of justifiable. Like there's always a reason these countries hate us.
Yeah.
I started to kind of go down that road, and then I was like, nah, I'm not equipped to, and it's going to take too long. There was a lady on CNN that did it perfectly. And she's about a minute and a half, but she summed it up real well. And I just want you and anybody else watching to hear this because it's a great little summary of what happened here. This is from CNN.
Why did the Iran hostage crisis take place?
So certainly,
I'm asking you why.
Fundamentalist radicals took over the government who
Why?
hate the West.
Why
Because
did they take
hate
over the
West.
government? Why?
Because they're religious jihadis who want to eliminate Western society.
They hate our way of life. They hate our way of life.
Or they overthrew the Shah of Iran, who we imposed on Iran because the Dulles brothers, one at the CIA and one at the State Department, decided that the oil beneath the soil of Iran belonged to BP and belonged to us. And when Mossadegh, who was the leader of Iran, the democratically elected leader of Iran, said that we would like to audit BP because we want to know if you are cheating us or paying the people of Iran based on the oil under their soil. And they said, you may not audit us. And then we overthrew him and he wound up dying in prison because we decided that we, in our arrogance as a country, got to own their oil.
So that
and wait a
justifies
minute,
the
no,
taking of the
one
hostages?
moment. And so the hatred of the United States had to do with the hatred of the Shah, who brutally repressed the people of Iran for 26 years until he was overthrown within Iran because he was not their natural king. They didn't want a king any more than we wanted a king. The bottom line is the arrogance of the United States' foreign policy. We act as if people act in a vacuum, and that nothing we do has ever led to the hatred of us in other countries. And I'm not saying that hostages should be taken, but you just said because they hate our freedoms. Well, that's BS.
No, they hate the
Yeah, amen, sister, dude. Like
She did a good job there.
totally,
and that's,
yeah,
dude,
that was perfect, and that happens. And the United States has done that across the world, and this is why all these countries hate us, and it's because we're assholes. We think oil under their feet is ours, and we do that over and over again.
If you're someone who's like conspiracy theory minded, like, or just is into that kind of stuff, go check out the Dulles brothers. One of them was like the head of the CIA, and the other one was the head of the State Department. And like there was a period of time where we were overthrowing countries in Latin America and South America, Honduras and Haiti and El Salvador, and it was so amazing. A lot of it had to do with like fruit sales, like with a U.S. fruit company like went over and basically took over these countries to grow bananas and all kinds of other stuff. And like every time they would start to rise up and be like, hey, we should be getting a cut of this money, we would overthrow that and stick a new dictator in. And we did it in the Middle East too. Now we, France and Britain all did it in the Middle East. So it wasn't just us, but there's always a reason these countries don't like us. It's as simple as that. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, I think I brought this up before. We went to war with Iraq for the oil, right?
Yep.
We got a lot of benefits through oil.
The oil was a big part of it. It wasn't the stated reason, and there were some other reasons, but the oil was definitely an underlying factor.
Right. And I brought this up before. The next place we went into was Afghanistan.
We went Afghanistan first, then Iraq.
Okay, so we went to Afghanistan first. Okay. Well, I remember hearing about soldiers guarding poppy fields.
Yeah.
Guarding poppy fields, like taking over and guarding poppy fields. And not too long after that, our opioid crisis started happening, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so I've kind of, and this is a conspiracy theory on my part, but like I've kind of tied those two together where like we wanted their poppy for our medical institution because they saw the money and there was money involved. And that was one of the reasons that we were there, right?
Here's the thing, whatever resources there are, whether it's oil or poppy seed or in Ukraine right now, like rare earth minerals, like whatever resources your country has, like if we're going to war, like that's also a consideration, like secure their resources either so they can use it to sell to pay us back for the war or so that we can take it, whatever. The natural resources are always considered, is all I'm going to say.
Yeah, but it's funny that our government went in for these poppy seeds and then they fed them to us and then they realized, oh, like you guys
Now
all
we
have you're all addicted to opium now. Like,
Yeah, now we have an opioid epidemic. Let's cut Medicare. That's
yeah.
it works
Yeah,
out so
and it's the
perfectly. Yeah,
same it's the same people that are in the power.
yeah,
Still Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer
yeah.
and yeah. Yeah.
So on that note, thank you for leading us into the next thing. I feel like the established Democrats are in trouble. I think the establishment Republicans are too, but let's focus on the Democrats right now. I don't know how much attention you paid to this, but we had a primary, no mayoral primary anywhere else in America would matter, but for some reason, like the New York mayoral primary is a big deal. Like people think it's going to be an indication of where the party's at, even though it's one city. But this is, I mean, you were probably about to disagree on some stuff, but Zorhan Mamdani, did I say that right?
I think
Okay.
so. Something like that.
He won the Democratic nomination. So this was just the primaries, but because he won, it seems like it's assured he's going to win the actual election. But he's far left. He's anti-establishment. I would definitely say, like, not just based on the platform, not the guy I would have voted for, but the dude ran a heck of a campaign. Like he ran a really good campaign, and
He's
people.
got some good ideas too.
He beat Andrew Cuomo. By the way, you want to know a disturbing fact? Are
Of
you
course.
ready? Are you ready to Google an image?
Well, okay.
Did you know that Andrew Cuomo has nipple rings? This could be bullshit. I don't know. You tell me real quick. Just Cuomo nipple ring. That's all you got to Google. Yeah. See if you can. Did you find one of these images yet?
I've got it. Yeah, I've got him pulled up. It's
None of them are
disturbing. It's disturbing.
none of them are bare nipple. We're not going to show it. If you're interested, just Google Cuomo nipple ring.
Yeah.
But it's all like through his shirt. But it seems pretty conclusive.
Yeah, they look. Yeah, is he have his barbells?
It looks like it. It looks like
His nipple
barbells.
ring? That or
Yeah.
he's just got a really
Maybe he's got
bumpy
three.
areola. I
He
don't
might
know.
have like three nipples. I don't know. I started seeing that the other night, and it was all over Twitter. And then I was like, let me go to Google because this might be bullshit. And then I went to Google and I found it, and it seems like I guess he's never confirmed it, but there's several pictures dating back for a long time that it looks like he's got both his nipples pierced.
How old is Andrew Cuomo?
He's in his 70s, 60s or 70s.
67. Okay.
Okay.
I mean,
Mhm.
maybe age doesn't matter.
What?
Okay, who cares? Like he likes his nipple rings. I had a nipple ring at one point.
Dude, me and you have a good buddy that has the nipple ring and lives in Colorado. And like
Yeah.
I always forget that his nipples pierced. And then like every couple of years we'll end up swimming or something, he'll take his shirt off and I always like giggle because I'm like, oh yeah, your nipple's still pierced.
He
Like
still has it pierced? Okay.
yeah, he's not, if you looked at him, you wouldn't think that, but yep, nope, he's
Well, I remember he got his left one pierced, so then I got my right one pierced just to even it out.
yeah.
That's just a goof around.
How progressive of you two.
It was fun.
Anyhow, so the question is, right afterward, people are like, is this a roadmap for how Dems should run the national election? Like is the party across the nation ready to do like what Mamdani, I can't say his name, Mamdani, and he ran pretty much, they're calling him a communist. He ran kind of as a
Who's
Democratic
calling him communists?
dude. There's a group in New York called like the New York Young Republicans, and they're influential. Like Trump went and spoke to them before the last election. Okay,
Okay.
they put out a statement that they're saying that Trump can legally remove them under, it was called like the Communist something act. I can't, some act that got passed in like the 50s and still is on the books, and that Trump can revoke his citizenship and remove him from the country because he's a communist. It doesn't seem like he's a communist. It seems like he's a democratic socialist, much in the light of Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, they call Biden a communist too. Like,
Yeah, they call him all communists, but
yeah,
he
that's their-
seems
that's
to
their
be
go-to.
he does seem to be democratic socialist. I'll say.
Yeah, he's a Bernie Sanders, which I agree with. He's on Bernie Sanders' side. He like, I don't know a ton about him, but from what I have heard, I like. I'm on his side.
So
Like he wants free public transportation
yep.
and he wants health care for everybody.
And he wants to, and he hasn't really said how he's going to do it, but he wants to tackle like the affordable housing crisis.
Affordable housing crisis.
Yeah.
And one
You
other
say-
thing he did was like he wanted to give like all new moms some kind of big gift basket with like diapers and milk and stuff. Like, who's gonna hate on that? Like,
Yeah, that's like
come on.
Trump starting the college fund for every newborn baby, as he's doing something like that. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Here's what I'll say. I think that the way he ran his campaign should be a roadmap. It should be a blueprint. Everybody, because he did a whole like man on the street thing where he was walking the streets talking to people, especially people that disagreed with him. He made it a point to put videos of him talking to Jewish people. There's a whole history where he has said some stuff that is there's a fine line between pro-Palestine and like pro-Hamas. And he's like walked right up to the edge of like dang near being pro-Hamas. He hasn't crossed it, but he's gotten close. That's I draw that that's a red flag for me if you start going pro Hamas. He didn't quite get there, but it was leaning that way. He said at one point that if Bibi Netanyahu, if he's mayor and Bibi comes to New York, he's going to have him arrested for war crimes.
Amen. Let's do it.
So anyhow, the Jews, the Orthodox Jews in New York are very afraid of him. It seems like the kind of young liberal progressive Jews like him a lot, and he made it. He had some guy that's, I want to say he's a city councilman. He's somebody that's been in the city government for a while that is Jewish, like was at his hip every step of the way. And the guy was vouching for him, basically. He's cleaned up. He has some tweets from like 2019 that are bad, but he's done a good job of addressing them. He went on Stephen Colbert the night before the election, and I thought it was great. When I was watching it, I thought it was such a good interview because Colbert was asking him like direct questions about like the people saying he's anti-Semitic. And the way it looked to me, just watching it, was like kind of choreographed where like he came to Steven and he was like, "Hey, ask me the tough questions. Like I need to have a chance to respond." And
Sure.
he responded great. But what's funny is Stephen Colbert has been getting hated on left and right. Where they're like, "Oh, he was trying to attack Mamdani." And I'm like, "No, I think that he did him a favor by not softballing it." Like
We should be asking all of our politicians the hard
yeah,
questions all the time. Like
but
that's what they're there for, right?
Exactly. And like I said, I think that I'll bet money ahead of time. Mamdani said, "Hey, nothing's off limits. Like, ask me the worst stuff you can. I want to get it out there." And I love that. Like, attack your issues head on. But
Yeah.
Mamdani, he's able to, and it's an authenticness like Bernie has, where
Oh, yeah.
like he is a man of the people. He's one of them. He's a New Yorker. Beto kind of had that vibe in
Yeah.
Texas. He didn't win, but he got closer than anybody thought he would.
Sure.
But he had that. And the only other, and this is going to be really weird, but the only other politician that I think has really captured that vibe is Trump. And Trump is clearly not one of them, but they think he's one of us. Like you hear them say that, and it's
He
like
doesn't he
he's convinced them. He's done it. He's not one of them, but they think he is. And if you point out, like, dude, the guy lives in a penthouse with gold toilets, like, it doesn't
yeah,
matter.
there's something about him. Yeah, he's tricked them.
Yeah,
Like he hasn't tricked us,
but he tricked them.
but he's tricked 30% of the population in the
I've
United
heard them
States.
say he's one of us. Like they say that. So
Yeah.
anyhow, but
Yeah.
that's weird because Beto, Trump, and
Interesting.
Mamdani are the three, and Bernie. I
Oh,
wouldn't even. Bernie's authentic, but he doesn't do the "I'm one of us" type thing.
George W. Bush too.
George W. Bush. I feel like I could have a beer with him,
Right.
and so,
Right.
but I think the platform be damned, and the platform matters. But I think that people vote for people they like. I think it's a popularity contest. Like I really do. And
Yes.
Mamdani, he ran a good campaign where he was everywhere. I saw for the past couple months, I've seen videos of this guy talking to people on the street. I don't live in New York. I'm not voting in this election, but
Yeah.
I keep seeing videos of him. He's out there a lot talking to people. And he's talking to everyday people on the street, not in a press conference, not in a sit down interview.
Yeah.
Like there's an authenticness there, and I think that's the roadmap that Democrats should take leading out of this. Don't try to copy his platform, especially when you have people that try to copy a platform that they don't believe in. They try to be Bernie, but they really like it kind of it shows. Like you see that they're not authentic with it. So
Oh, you're 100%. Like this has been my whole issue with politicians from the time I started paying attention to politicians is like they're all fake. Like you can I can tell. I can tell that Pete Hegseth isn't who he is in sitting here in front of,
yeah,
on stage talking to the American people. No, that dude, all he really wants to do is sit in a pool and drink beer all day, and he could do that for the rest of his life, right?
yeah,
On a
he's a
beach in Mexico or something, that motherfucker could just cruise around Mexico with a beer in his hand
there's got to
on the
be
beach all day long, maybe riding a jet ski. He's kind of like Kenny Powers.
he is like Kenny,
He wants
but
to be Kenny Powers, but he can't. He's got
I
to button
I
up a
feel
little
like
bit.
there's probably a name for that group. I want to call it like a party bro. I don't know if that's a name for real, but like that's what I want to. He's here to have a good time. Like he wants to
Yeah.
have fun. He wants to get fucked up and have fun. Like that's kind of
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the
Who
vibe I
doesn't?
get from
But
him. Yeah. So also on Hegseth, let me jump back to him real quick. Just in the past week, like I think Russ Vought and Carrie Lake, God, I hate her.
oh
Who
yeah.
else? Hegseth was in front of the media at NATO. Like, there's been a lot of his cabinet officials that have been in front of Congress or the media, and like,
Hmm.
it's becoming clear like he picked TV personalities because he does like their job isn't to like Hegseth's job isn't really to run the Pentagon. Like, he's got people under him that should be doing that. His job is to be the figurehead, the spokesman, and Trump likes the way that they battle, like they fight. Like if they get asked a question that's unfair, they attack, and like it's every one of them, and like they're all trying to outdo each other. So anyhow,
Yeah. Did you
I
see
don't.
Pam Bondi in front of
Yeah,
Congress the other day?
she's the other one. Yeah, and it's just
She's
like
nightmare.
and Trump.
She's so it's like just answer a stupid question like we are you are our servant at this
Yeah,
point.
you have to answer
Like
to the people, and our representatives are asking you questions.
yes,
They're not. They're
they're
just
not doing that. It's
they're
bad.
giving the middle finger to the media and Congress and saying we don't have to answer this shit. And Trump loves it, and the people that voted for them love it. And
Yeah,
it's overall it's not good. If this is the direction we head, where both sides just start not answering to the people, that's bad in general. But
very bad.
anyhow,
Very bad. You got to
back to
answer the questions. They
back
need
to
to fix something. Like
yeah.
I don't
I
know
don't,
how you fix that, but
I don't know what you
because
fix.
I feel like they're just setting a precedent for the next
Well,
administration.
so
But
after Trump, because Trump's administration didn't do it this bad in the first term, like they weren't
no,
this brazen about it. But
nope.
after Trump, a lot of the left wanted Biden's administration to be the same way, be, fucking shit talk him, troll him, whatever. And Biden ran on a party, or he ran on a platform of I'm not going to do that. Like I want to return to normalcy.
Yeah.
Normalcy's boring, and like the left lost energy because it was kind of boring, and like he wasn't sticking it to the right, and they didn't have energy rolling into the midterms. And Trump's trying to keep the energy up rolling into the midterms.
Yeah,
It's kind of working.
they want it to be a reality show is what they
Yeah,
want.
it's working. I hate it, but
It
it's kind of
sucks.
it's
It
exactly
sucks
like
it's gonna destroy our civilization.
yeah.
The
It
reality show politics is gonna destroy our civilization, man. This is not good.
it's what
It's
we
not
crave.
how we yeah.
As a people, it's what we want, even though we complain about it. It's just like cable news. Like if cable news stops sensationalizing and like CNN coming out every break is like breaking news and it acts like something big just happened and it's not. But
Yeah.
if you talk about okay, well just give me the news with no sensationalism, no spin, just give it to me. Nobody would watch that. It would have low ratings. It wouldn't make any money. So like Fox News is giving the people what they want. It's not journalism, but it's giving the people what they want.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah,
It's
and
such a nightmare.
that's what the Trump administration is giving to MAGA right now. It's giving them what they want. So anyhow, back to Mamdani real quick. Here's the question that's being asked by people smarter than me: is can the Democrats get that same kind of energy without the radical platform that Mamdani had? I want your opinion on that, really, because
I want his radical platform. It's not radical. His platform is not radical.
okay, I would call it radical, but in this
What's
we can
radical?
disagree. He's wanting to freeze rent, to make it to where rent can't go up. I don't like the government in any way. I'm capitalism. I don't like the government doing price controls. Whether
Yeah,
it be
but
whether it be the
like
national,
New York, in a place like New York, they've always had rent control
yeah,
because people can't afford to live in New York. It people wouldn't be able, like the people that actually work in the bars and the restaurants and who are your garbage man and your plumber and like your normal people, they wouldn't be able to actually live in New York if there wasn't rent control, right?
yeah, they live over in Staten Island and have to take the ferry and
They'd have
everything.
to take an hour or two, and then who's gonna like why would they even want to do that? They
The
want to
cat,
live in New York, right? Because it's so expensive to live in New York.
the
So the rent control is in place to keep people from working there. We have this issue in Colorado with some of the mountain towns where like there's so many rich people buying up like vacation homes in these mountain towns that the people that actually work all the jobs in town have to live way outside of town, and they're driving like 30 minutes into town, and they're not getting paid as much, and they just can't afford to live there, and it just keeps getting further and further out.
So I'm not saying I agree with this, but you know what the capitalist response to that would be? The system, you let the system fix itself. Eventually there won't be people to work those jobs. Let's say in New York. In New York, if people can't afford to live there, they can't afford to commute. If rent's gotten too high, now you don't have any workers. So then the city or, you know, whoever it will be will start trying to build affordable housing because they realize, oh crap, we don't have workers, we need to address. So you let the system do it without the
You can't
government
build
telling them.
affordable housing in New York.
You'd find a way. It'd be little like little 300 square foot lofts.
It's not, yeah, it's not
Yeah.
going to work. I mean, that's the thing is they have to do this to prevent New York from basically collapsing.
Do you ever see the videos of people that like, hey, I paid $2,500 a month for this apartment in New York, and then they go in and it's like 150 square feet. There's like a kitchen and a bed, and that's it, and it's like it's an odd shape, and it's like, yep, I paid $2,500 a month for this 10 by 10 room.
Totally.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous, right? And that's rent control. $2,500 is rent control.
Probably.
Yeah. Like, have you ever looked at like some of these rich people who live in New York and they have like, you know, $20 million apartments and they're nice, but it's pretty much the same thing you could buy in Oklahoma, like your house, like a decent sized house, 5 bedrooms. It's probably not even as big as your house, but it's a $30 million apartment.
A dad I know from the soccer team, his boss lives in New York, like in Manhattan, and has like it's like a house, but the buildings all touch each other, but I guess you'd call it a house. And it was only like 1,700 square feet, and it was we Zillowed it together, and it was like 22 million for like a 1,700 square foot house, right? But it was in like Manhattan, like it was prime real estate. Yeah.
Right. So New York, if you didn't have rent control in New York, that's when things start collapsing. Because people that work the normal jobs can't afford to live there.
I see what you're saying. What I'm saying is that I think that work. New York is a very progressive. But you agree that New York and California are very progressive. I guess I'm going to say New York City and California are very progressive areas. Would you agree?
What do you do? What's your definition of progressive?
They're going to vote blue no matter who. Like it's always going to be a Democrat.
Okay, so my definition of progressive is that they are moving society forward in a way that makes society better for everybody.
The term, like the people that are like, I don't like him because he's progressive. It's like, what would you rather be regressive? Like, what are you saying here? Like, we should always be moving forward. So kind of I see what you're saying there. I agree with your
definition. That's my definition of progressive. And I feel like the blue is trying to bring us forward while the right is trying to bring us backwards.
The right saying, whoa, you're moving too fast there, buddy. Slow down.
Yeah. Let's take away the rights for all these people who aren't white men. Just take all their rights back away because we went way too fast in the 60s and 70s.
Real quick, speaking of progressing, real quick, I saw a deal, and I'm gonna butcher trying to repeat this. But it was like the old people right now that are like, I'm not okay with my son marrying a trans, you know, like that we're like, oh, these bigots. Like that's gonna be us in like 30 years that are like, I just don't like the idea of my son marrying his AI or you know something like that. Where like like right now we can't fathom it and we'll always think it's crazy, but like 2 generations from now they're gonna be like, what? I'm dating AI. Like what's for you old boomer? Like they're gonna be making fun of us for not getting it. So
maybe.
Yeah, I butchered that, but you get the gist.
God.
So
could you imagine?
Anyhow, I don't know. I think that, like I said, I don't think that everybody should rush out to just adopt Mamdani's platform. Okay, if that's not what you believe in, don't adopt it. But learn from how he ran that campaign. He was on social media. He was going on podcasts. He was not afraid to take tough questions. He hit them head on. The exact opposite of Walz. Every time Walz got asked one of the questions about his fibs, he tried to like basically give a non-answer and move on. Like, no, give me an answer. Like, even if it's just I screwed up, give me an answer. And like, I feel like Mamdani, the people of New York seem to trust him now. And like I said, if you just go back and look at his Twitter from like 2019, 2020, dude, nobody's winning with that Twitter, but he addressed it all head on. So,
well, and let's look at this. Who are other politicians that are actually like straightforward and honest with us and who don't waver unless there's a really good reason to waver from your policy?
You know, right now, the only one I can name is Thomas Massie.
What about Bernie Sanders?
Okay, Bernie. Bernie and Thomas.
Okay. And what about AOC?
again, so yes, but there's something about her, and it might just be me, where I don't feel like she's as authentic as I feel like she's trying to learn from Bernie and adopt. She's trying to become Bernie's successor, and I
Okay.
feel like it's not 100%. I still like her. I like it. I like her
Yeah.
as a person. It just
Yeah.
doesn't feel as authentic.
I think you're right. Yeah, she's not as comfortable in front of the camera or something.
Yeah, she
Um,
doesn't truly believe it. Bernie believes that shit.
it's deep in
AOC
his
seems like
soul.
she's AOC seems like she's searching for her written answer. Where no, it needs to you need to
Uh,
believe it. That's how I feel about it.
yeah. Yeah. Okay, I can see that. Okay.
Rand
So,
Paul is the only other one I'd maybe say, but I hate Rand Paul so much I can't give him any props for anything.
so yeah, and I would say that he's very much, yeah, but he kind of wavers though. He'll vote for something that he doesn't really
That's why I
believe.
said like Massey is going to stick to his guns here. Paul will end up falling in line. He'll say a lot of
Okay.
shit and then he'll fall in line.
But the two people that we're saying are libertarians and democratic socialists. Those are
Yeah,
the two sides that we're saying are true to their word,
yeah,
or they're authentic.
yeah. I wish I could name a Democrat besides Bernie that I feel like is really authentic. And I think Bashir, the governor of Kentucky, he might be the only one I can really think of.
He's
I
there.
like him.
I think Tim Walz is authentic.
Yeah.
You don't think Tim Walz? You don't like Tim Walz for some reason. I
No,
like him.
I loved him. I'm very disappointed where there were a couple we've talked about it, but there were a couple things that was he in Tiananmen Square when the thing happened?
He
No,
messed up. He messed up on his words,
but
but he's authentic.
he never addressed it and said he never I don't ever feel like he ever handled those things right. He could have. Yeah, I'm really mad at Tim Walz because I liked a lot about him. And it was like, dude, the two questions you should be ready for are about Tiananmen Square and about whether or not you carried a rifle in combat. Like you should have an answer ready. Consult with some people and workshop it and come up
Dude,
with a good answer.
they threw him into the bus. They threw him on the bus like last minute,
Nah,
under the bus, last minute, dude. Yeah, they did.
the
He
debate
wasn't
he
ready for
had,
that. He
the
wasn't
debate
ready for a
that
vice presidential campaign.
I'm just saying the debate he had a week of debate prep leading up to it.
Yeah, he
And
did debate.
did they never talk about those two questions? Because those are the two moments that were everybody remembers those two moments was
Some
him not
people
having
aren't good at debating.
he
All
yeah.
right, going back to authenticity.
Okay.
Pete Buttigieg, authentic,
Pete. Okay, I forgot that. Thank you for bringing
authentic.
him up.
Boom.
Yes. Pete's on the list.
Yep. What's his name? Moskowitz. I'd
Ah,
say
yeah.
he's
I
pretty
give
authentic.
I like
I'll
him.
give him
He's not
some
as good
credit.
as the ones we named previous. He's like tier 2. Tier 1 we already named. Pete's in that.
Yeah.
Moskowitz is tier. There's a lot of tier 2s.
Well, he's
But
authentic, but
yeah.
he's not as like, I don't think he's going to be running for president anytime soon, but
No.
he's authentic. And there's a handful of people. I
Yeah.
would say um our senator here in Colorado, Hickenlooper, he's authentic.
Was he the governor before?
He was the governor.
Okay, yeah, I like
I
him.
would say he's very authentic, but he's not good in front of the cameras. He's not good
Yeah.
in debates. He's not good in front of the cameras. So he sticks to his lane. He's quiet. He's in the background. He moves things around. He does his, I don't know what he's good at, but he's probably good at something. And
A
so
lot of faith
and
he
he
got
does it.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, he keeps winning and
Okay, yeah. The
he's
people
been-
seem to like him. Yeah, so
people
I'll
like
give
him.
that.
Yeah.
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 That's what sucks is there are some really smart people that would be good and they're just not good on TV. They're not good in front of and it's like you have to be president. Like that should not be a requirement, but it totally is. And that's why we have Trump as president. Trump knows how to work the camera, he knows how to work the media. Like that man is good on TV. And that's really we learned in 2016 that matters more than anything else.
He knows how to keep the cameras on him.
Yeah, and
that's the key.
He knows how to change the narrative when needed. Like there's so many times where it's like, oh, this is terrible for him, and then he'll do something where everybody's like, what? He did that, and then now we're all talking about that, and not this last thing.
That's a Steve Bannon tactic that he learned.
That's the one reason I can't believe that he didn't keep the Iran war going, because as long as the Iran conflict was going on, we're not talking about the big beautiful bill. We're not talking about the tax cuts. What else? There's a lot. He's got a lot going on. Even
selling public land.
Elon said that he's on the Epstein list, and then the Israel thing started like 2 days later, and we haven't even gone back and addressed that. Cutting out on you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay,
that was fine. I think you're back.
Anyhow, so I don't. Like I said, I'm rooting for Mamdavi. I think he's going to win. It's not a sure thing because Eric Adams, he's currently the mayor. He was a Democrat. Now he's an independent. He's going to be on as an independent. So it's going to be Mamdavi versus Eric Adams, former Democrat that is now very closely aligned with Trump, and then a Republican in the race. So it's going to be a three-way race. I think Mamdani still is going to win, but we'll see how it's going to go. Not a for
So
sure
there's
yet.
Mondavi, there's a Republican and another Democrat.
Yeah, so the current mayor of New York is Eric Adams, black guy, former police commissioner. He was the rising star of the Democratic Party, and then he got caught doing some shit, and charges got brought against him. Then Trump got in. Trump and him had a meeting. He agreed to let ICE come in and run roughshod over New York in exchange for his charges being dropped. Remember, people ended up resigning from the Department of Justice over this whole deal because they said it was corrupt. It was like the very first real corrupt thing Trump did when he got in office.
Is that not going to split the left-leaning vote?
It is. But no, normally for New York, normally the left wins by so much. And because he's very pro-Trump, they don't know how much of the vote he can really get. Now, the blacks in New York, Mamdavi won all these different groups, but the two groups he didn't win were the Orthodox Jews and non-college educated black voters. And the non-educated black voters is a group the left depends on, and Eric Adams is probably going to get them. He's black and they like him. And, yeah, he's been good for crime. So it's not a sure thing Mamdavi wins, but he's definitely the front runner.
So it's either going to be Mondavi or a Republican.
Yes. Adams won't win, but he could be a spoiler.
Ooh. So why doesn't he just drop out?
Because he's doing it for Trump.
Oh, what a dick.
Yeah, Trump would love it if he caused the Republican to win.
Oh, that was so horrible. Okay.
Yeah. So anyhow, before we get to the very last thing, trade deal update. We got 7 days to go. I'm going to go ahead and count the UK trade deal as one. We still don't really know what's in that deal, but Trump held up a thing and said the deal is done. We signed it while he was standing next to the British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. So they both said the deal's done on camera. I don't know what's in the deal. Have you seen?
I thought it wasn't a deal. It was like it was something else.
They both called it a deal.
I feel like all those pages that fell out of the notebook were blank pages. I didn't see any writing on those pages. That's the problem.
Says the AI generated response from Google. This historic trade deal provides American companies unprecedented access to British markets while bolstering U.S. national security. The deal will include billions of dollars in increased market access for American exports, especially for beef, ethanol, and certain other agricultural exports.
Okay, well let's give AI credit, and we'll give Trump credit for
give him one deal. So he's got
deal.
7 days left. We got UK. UK should have been really, really easy, but
89 more deals to go.
He got one though, so we're not at 0 anymore. We're at 1. Okay, and I can't remember the guy's name, but what is his name? Kevin Hassett, I think. He's the guy with glasses that's always really smiley when he's talking. He works for Trump. Anyhow, he was on the other day, and the guy on Fox News, I should have pulled the clip, but he was like, hey, every time I talk to you, say that we're going to be seeing deals later this week. Like, when are we going to see some deals? And he said, oh, well, I think they're really waiting till after the big, beautiful bill gets signed. I'm sure once that gets signed, then you'll see a flurry of trade deals right afterward. They're stalling at this point. I don't think we're coming up on 90 days. He's going to have to give another extension or just go back to imposing whatever tariff he wants. I don't know which way he's going to go.
But here's my question is like so he's canceled all of our trade deals with all these countries.
Okay, and just imposed flat tariffs on them, but then knocked it down to 10%.
But we're all still trading as we trade.
At 10 right now, we're all trading at 10%, except for China, which is trading at
so
like
everything
35.
in the world costs 10% more at this point for Americans, for everybody. But do we really need trade deals? Or I mean,
I don't know.
We're just kind of sitting here in this void, and it's working. The stock, I don't understand how the stock market's still up. Like unemployment's not crashing. Like nothing's like.
Well, because we still haven't felt the actual tariffs. Like whatever. Remember Liberation Day when it was like 30% for this country and 40% for this country and 90% for this country. Like supposedly at the end of the 90 days, we're supposed to go back to that. And that's when the market would supposedly get tanked. Now he's probably going to do another extension or what? I don't know. There's no way that in 7 days we're going to go back to those tariff levels. I don't.
Is he even trying to get deals done?
I don't know. I mean, he's got a lot going on right now. I mean, I don't. I didn't pull this clip because it would have irritated me. But someone at NATO today asked him, "Hey, you said you could get the UK-Russia ceasefire done in a day, and then later you said you were being sarcastic. What's going on with that?" That was basically the question. And he said, "Well, you wouldn't believe it, but what's going on here is actually a lot more complicated than most people know," or said something like that. And it was like, no, we all knew that this was complicated. Like, you're the only one that thought you could do it in a day. Like, anyhow, I'll say this: they're trying to do a lot. They're just trying to get the big beautiful bill through that's an all hands on deck effort. And then we're also messing with Iran. We got Ukraine going on. We're trying to do 90 trade deals in 90 days. Like, there's a lot happening at once.
So much going on,
dude. On the big beautiful bill,
and they're constantly in court. Like, I think Trump lost like 50 cases in the last week in court.
But he every time he loses, he keeps appealing, and eventually he'll get to somebody who he'll win, or it'll get to the Supreme Court, and he's got a pretty good shot there. So he won the other day. The Supreme Court's allowing him to deport people to third party countries or something, basically not back to their home country. But the ones that they're picking, it seems like it's a punishment for the people they're deporting, because it's always like war-torn countries with terrible conditions, like Sudan. And the Supreme Court 6-3 on party line vote said, yep, he can send him to third party.
Are they deporting him to Sudan, or are they deporting him to like a Sudan prison?
That's not clear yet. They haven't done it yet. And when they get there, if it is a prison, then it'll go back to the courts.
Yeah, because that's the thing, is like, okay, yeah, release them into the world somewhere else, but like not in a prison. Like, don't imprison these people.
No.
Like, that's the whole, like, unless they're actually criminals, like if they just came over the border and that's their charge, then just deport them back to their home country, hopefully. Like, wouldn't that be the nice thing to do?
We're not that the cruelty is the point. Like, they're not trying to do the nice thing. That's very clear that you understand that. The cruelty is built in.
Why do they have to be so cruel? This is the problem.
Because his base loves it, and he's trying to keep his base happy. Yes,
the Christians love it when you're cruel.
Yes.
This is frustrating.
Yeah, I can't explain it, but yes, you're correct. That's exactly right. So, anyhow, the last thing, real quick, big beautiful bill update. This is the last video of the night. This is from CNN.
I think that the Medicaid cuts are directionally right, but I think very difficult for the states to absorb. And we've just got to figure out a way to achieve what we're trying to do, bend the curve.
But right now, this could have a big negative impact on North Carolina.
Well,
the Medicaid cuts.
I think current estimates are about $38 billion over 10 years. That's a big impact.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody believes that the current text is final, so I don't believe anybody would vote for it in its current form. We've got a lot of things that we're working on.
But there is so little time in order to get this bill through the United States Senate. The Senate majority leader wants this on the floor within the next couple of days, by Friday, it sounds like at the moment. But to alleviate those concerns, that means that it could alienate some folks on the right flank of the Republican conference. And finding that delicate balance has been so challenging for Republican leaders, because even if it does pass the Senate, then they got to get through the House, where they have similar issues over there and different issues that have come up as well. All as Donald Trump is demanding members to fall in line. And that's what Republican leaders are banking. They think these members will rather fold and get behind what Donald Trump wants, rather than stand up to him and endure his wrath.
So Trump wants this done and on his desk to sign by the 4th of July, which is in a week. In order to do that, the Senate has to pass something by Friday, and then it's got to go back to the House. And if the House doesn't fully agree on it, then it goes to conference, where they try to marry the two bills together. Yeah, if this gets done in a week, it'll be amazing. And Trump has, he's going to put a full if anybody says no, they're not voting on this, he's going to go after him on Twitter or whatever. So he's got a week.
He's got a week to get this done, and he's got a week to make 89 deals.
Yes,
trade deals with the country.
Yeah, and like I said, if it was any other president, like clearly, no, this is not going to be on the Senate is still not able to pass anything. There's no way this gets to his desk. But I'm telling you, full court pressure's coming. Like, once the Senate passes something, he's going to expect the House to just pass whatever the Senate did, and the House isn't going to want to do that. There are certain factions in there that are going to have issues. They're going to want to
comes in.
Yeah, also Massey and Chip Roy are the two that I would say are going to be the thorn in the side, but I think they need at least one more, maybe two more to say no. If it's just those two, which
Okay.
if it does pass the House, it'll pass exactly that way. It'll be those two saying no and just barely enough votes saying yes. But if they change anything, if the House changes anything, then it has to go back to the Senate again. And something they changed might have affected a Republican in the Senate. So I don't know how they're going to do it in a week. I
Yeah.
think there is a solid chance. There's a 30% chance they do it, and I think it'll be just because Trump's going to bully the fuck out of them. Like that's the only way it happens.
Well, we gotta hope that they don't, that people are getting sick of Trump and his bully tactics. Yeah, the other thing I want to talk about was the public land soft, because that's one thing that's supposed to go in this big beautiful bill, and this is the one thing that I've been really focused on. I try and go on Instagram and find these organizations that are posting stuff, and I've even created a couple things myself, but I'll just make like a story out of them. And um, it's kind of crazy because it's this one guy in Utah, and he wants to get rid of public land.
Is it
And
is it Mike Lee?
it's Mike Lee.
I hate Mike Lee. Okay,
Mike
yeah.
Lee is an enemy of the people, and he wants to get rid of this public land. And for somehow it got kicked out of the big beautiful bill because it was unconstitutional. But now he's writing it off, and he's kind of cut it in half. But he's going back into the big beautiful bill.
Hold on, say that last part again. You said they took it out, but are
Yeah,
they going to try
because it
to
was
put it back in?
unconstitutional. It didn't fit into this bill. It couldn't be. I forget what the verbiage was, but it couldn't be in this bill because it had to be a separate bill
Okay, so
passed.
they still might want to try to sell it, but it can't pass as part of this package.
Right. So he
Okay.
took it off the table, and everybody celebrated. Like all the outdoor industry, the whole entirety of the outdoor industry celebrated and was like, "Yeah, way to, we were all pumped." And then all of a
Hmm.
sudden it was like, but he's rewriting the bill and he's going to put it back in there. And now his new thing is any public land that's within 10, I think it's 10 miles of housing, they're going to try to sell that off.
And they're saying they want to use it to build low income housing, right?
That's what he's saying,
Okay,
but
I don't gotta
that's
believe
not
that.
in the bill. That's not in the bill. That verbiage
Yeah,
is not in the bill. He's saying that, but really what he wants to do is it's going to go to like drilling.
that makes sense. The
Yeah,
resources.
a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not going to low income housing. And these are the spots that like, I've got public land surrounding me, and
Mhm.
these are the spots that like I can get off work and I can like hop over and go hiking, or I can go biking, or I can go climbing, or I can go sit by the water, or I can do,
This
these are the
this
spots that people use.
the spot that me and you went camping that time we were talking about earlier, that was public land. That was the national grasslands, and you can go out
Totally.
there and hunt, camp, do whatever you want. And that was
Right.
yeah, that
Right.
was
Right.
just outside of DFW.
Yeah, and if you do that, if you start getting rid of all that stuff, then wildlife is done. Hunting is going to be done.
Yeah.
Fishing is going to be done. You're also rolling back all these, um, uh, what is it? The environmental protection stuff. So
Mhm.
all the air is going to be polluted and the river's going to be polluted. There's not going to be any fish in there, so you can't fish. So then we're just going to basically live in a wasteland.
Yeah. And part of it is I just pulled up a map while you were talking about this, but everything that they're talking about selling is west of Kansas, Nebraska, all that. Like it's out there in them liberal states, buddy. It's
Oh yeah.
California, Portland, Washington, Colorado, New Mexico, Nevada, which is a purple state that could go either way. Wyoming, which is red but very few electoral votes, and Idaho. So yeah, I mean
Well,
it's all over there.
well, this is what Roosevelt gave us, remember? Like
Yep. When he created
he
the national parks and whatnot.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
created public lands and national parks, and he gave this to me and you and
It's ours.
every American citizen owns this land, and we pay a little bit of taxes to keep maintenance on it, but we're able to go out there and do our thing, and if it's not there, we like we're one of the only countries that has something like this.
The
Um,
the worst part of it, real quick, and you're going to disagree with me here, but the worst part of it is like if they were selling it and it was like, hey, we have to sell it because the nation is in debt and blah blah. That's devastating. Like we need to pay off the debt, or we need to sell it and we'll give a check to every American. If it's somehow like that, that if I would entertain it. I wouldn't want to do it, but I would kind of get it more. But in this situation, like, no, we need to sell it to fund the tax cuts for the billionaires. Like, that's the worst selling point of all time. Like, if it was for a better reason, I would at least hear you out. But for tax cuts,
Absolutely, one of the worst selling points
yeah,
is getting rid of mine and your public land for the tax cuts. But like nature and like having parks is like mentally healthy, right? Like
yeah.
you go on walks and you're out in nature and you've got trees and you've got grass and all this stuff, and like that's mentally healthy for you, right? It's not only healthy for your body, but it's healthy for your mental state as well. And this is one of the things that they're basically just destroying. I don't understand what they want. Do they just want houses all over the place so that we can be rich? But also, hold on, I'm trying to pull up I made a newsletter this last time out of this, and it's insane. Oh, I know where I got it. Like there's money involved. Like I think it's 2.1% of our GDP is based on having this public land.
Really? Okay.
Yep. Let me pull up this
I don't know enough about GDP to really figure out how that works, but
gross domestic
product. I know what it stands for, but I don't really understand how that would
like,
help our GDP, but I'll take your word for it.
It's our money. So
yeah.
here's my newsletter. Theodore Roosevelt left us, we the people, one of America's greatest legacies, our public lands. These include national parks, national forests, wildlife refuges, and BLM managed lands, a shared treasure that belongs to every American. These lands don't just provide awe-inspiring beauty and outdoor adventure, they're an economic powerhouse. Public lands generate $51 billion annually and support over 650,000 jobs. The outdoor industry they support contributes $1.2 trillion to the economy, which is 2.3% of the US GDP, and sustains 5 million American jobs. So that's 650,000 jobs and 5 million or 5 million jobs total and 2.3% of the US GDP.
So, and you were saying it earlier, but I'm seeing here that the Senate parliamentarian determined the proposal by the Senate Energy Committee, Mike Lee, would violate the chamber's rules. That's already happened twice, where the parliamentarian told them they can't do something, and then they just like held a quick vote to vote that no, we can't do that, and then they did what they wanted to do. Nobody's done that up until this Senate, and they've done it twice already. So I'm just gonna say I wouldn't be shocked if they just change the rule. Like that would be easy for if they can get all they have 54 Republicans, they would need to get 50. If they can get 50 of them to say yes, they can just change that rule and put it back in. So
yeah, I have a feeling this is if they do something like that, people are going to be chaining themselves to trees like in mass.
Yeah, it's
going to be insane. And this is all one guy. Mike Lee is leading this charge. Did you also know that there's something called the Anti-Parks Caucus? Or you told me about this?
I told you about this on the show. There's a lot of Republicans. It's the anti-park. They think there should be no national parks.
There's 20 elected officials.
Yeah. I think Boebert's on that list. I'm not positive.
You're right.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that one time. Yeah. They don't like the idea of national parks at all. They don't think the government should own any land, period. Like they're very big on that.
It's horrible.
Yeah. But anyhow. I think the selling of the public lands thing, like, I'm mad about it, but I'm more mad that the people that I know that use public lands aren't upset about this. Like, that's where my anger is right now. It's like, how, like you of all people, like, how are you not mad about this? And they're just that's where you start to see the tribalism, where it's just like, nope, Trump's doing it. I'm cool with it. Like, if Trump said we have to do it, I'm down. And it's like, the left is equally guilty of that. I feel like I always have to say that, but there's tribalism where it's like, no, my side said this, so now I agree with it.
Well, yeah, no, it's 100% that, the left is the left that they are okay, but not as much as Trump. Trump is a cult.
Here's the difference: is on the left, it's like if the Democratic Party decides this, then I'm gonna go along with it. If you're tribalist, you just go along with it. But the party does it. On the right, it's one guy that says, nope, I changed. Yeah. Republicans have always believed this, but I've changed my mind, and now I think we should do this. And they all just go, yes, sir. Like, let's throw away, 40, 50 years of Republican thought on this and let's change it to your mindset. Got it.
Yeah.
So, but that to me, that's the difference. Is I can't think of one person on the left that could sway everybody by themselves. It has to be like the left has gotten together and decided
Yeah.
this, and then people either fall in line or they don't.
Kind of, which is better than a one person.
Yeah, that's the biggest issue we face is the tribalism, and like I think people have this weird notion that they have to agree with 100% of like if they like Trump, then they have to support everything he says. Like, no, you could say like, hey, I voted for Trump for fiscal reasons, but I think that this and this and this are dumb or whatever. You
Yeah.
could say that, but nobody's going to say that. Like, if you voted for Trump, you're just going to back everything he says. And there was an element of that with Biden last time where, like, if you were pro Biden, it was just like, no, he's not getting old. He's doing fine. And it's like, no,
Right.
he's clearly, me and you were guilty of that. I said repeatedly, I was like, hey, he's 82. For 82, he's doing pretty good, or 81, whatever he was. But it's like, oh, clear. Like when you get that old, yeah, you lose a step, but he's still doing all right. And then he had that debate, and I went, oh shit.
Right.
Like,
Well, the debate was the first time that we really got to see him, and
that was the first time where I was like, we need a new candidate. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
But how long has he been doing that? And everybody saw him, but he wasn't going out in public much.
when he
He's
was
not
on,
like Trump doing a press conference every day.
so even the very next day after that terrible debate, he went out and did like a fiery speech at a rally,
Right.
and
That's
he
what I remember.
seemed really on. And it seems like when you get that old, you have good moments and bad moments. So maybe he was just having a bad moment. How often were the bad moments happening? I don't know. But like, there were times where he was giving speeches and seemed to be pretty, even at the State of the
Sure.
Union. At the State of the Union, he was heckling the Republicans, heckling Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like,
Yeah.
he seemed pretty with it there. There's
Yeah.
also an element of like when it starts to go, it goes quick, like at that age.
Yeah.
And like, he might have been good 5 months before that, but in the 5 months leading up to that, man, it started to go downhill.
It's disappointing.
Yeah.
But you know what? Yeah, they should have. I mean, he said he ran as a transitional president, and he
That
stayed in. He thought he could win it again. And maybe when he first thought, like everybody was like, "Yeah, you could do this, man. You're still spry and going." And then like,
I still
shortly
say
after that-
it's the people immediately around him, the people that really like his chief of staff and all them. They want to stay where they're at. They got power,
Oh,
or
yeah.
whatever. And those are the people that tell him, no, sir, you got this. You can keep going. Like this, those are the people that screwed us on the last one.
Mm,
Anyhow,
yeah, yeah. Because if they would have given us more chance and given us an opportunity to like pick Kamala Harris or Pete Buttigieg or
yeah,
whoever, a number of candidates, it would have been a good thing. But they waited till the very last minute and they went, go in there, Kamala and Tim Walz, like you can do this. And it's like, oh
a
God.
perfect world of revisionist history. Right after the midterms in 22, he should have said, "Hey, everybody, start getting ready for a primary. I might
Mhm.
be in it. I might try to run again, but hey, I might not. But everybody, start your campaigns up, and we're gonna have a primary, and either I'll be there or I won't." And that's how he should have done it. And then going into the summer of 23, when we got to figure it out. At that moment, hey, are you good? Are you still with it? Do you want to do it? Other people have been gearing up, and you're gonna have to compete against them. But that's incumbent presidents never do that. Like everybody got mad at Biden for not having a primary, but like Obama in his reelection didn't have a primary. Trump in 2020 didn't have a primary. Like when you're the incumbent, your party doesn't try to primary you. That's the way it generally goes. Maybe it shouldn't be that way, but that's the way it goes. And I should correct that. There's a guy named Joe Walsh who is a Republican congressman and then talk radio host who was very pro-Trump and then flipped at some point. It was no longer pro-Trump, and he tried to primary. He was actually on the ballot in some states for a Republican primary, but he tried to primary Trump. And what Trump did is he had the RNC cancel primaries in a lot of the states to where they just didn't even have it. So he never had a chance. And then Dean Phillips, maybe somebody tried to primary Biden, but they just did the same thing. They just kind of shut it out.
It was like Dean Phillips and Cenk Uygur, and
yeah, Cenk didn't get very far.
Yeah.
So you can try, but the party has to give you a real shot at having a primary. And Trump was the first to do it in 2020, but then the Democrats took that playbook and ran with it for 24.
Well, that's why I'm excited about this New York mayor. Is he's outside of the norm. He's a Bernie Sanders, right?
He's anti-establishment.
He's
I think
anti-democratic. Yeah, and the Democrat Party has just given us loser after loser. I mean, Chuck Schumer, you need to retire. Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, get out of your seat. Go away. You have not standing up to this moment, you are losers.
Dude, that
Go.
the Mondavi victory the other night was a huge green light for AOC.
Yeah.
Like that just showed her that she could destroy Schumer in a primary, like guaranteed.
Mhm.
And that's the biggest problem is that Biden tried to run as like, hey, look how good I'm doing. Everything in America is good. And like, no, a lot of people in America are feeling pain in one way or another. So like running as a change candidate is awesome, and you kind of can't do that when you're the incumbent. Like Biden couldn't run on hope and change. He's been in power for 3 years. Why didn't you do it the
Right.
first? Why didn't you do it the past 3 years? Is what they would have said. So like the Tea Party back in 2010, 2012 was all about getting these old farts out of here and
Mhm.
bringing in new people. It was anti-establishment, and the Democrats are like lining up for a very Tea Party-ish midterms and possibly. And the Republicans won a lot of seats during that time, like they did.
Yeah.
So that's the way it's looking, but it's going to piss me off if the Democratic establishment, the Chuck Schumers, like hold on to power and kind of quash their challengers, and then we have them up again in 22 and 20 or 26 and 28. God, it's getting fast.
Yeah.
Anyhow, that's the fear, and I'm voting. I'm rooting for the Zoran Mondavis of the world. Like that's who I want to see win. I want to see the
Yeah,
anti-establishment.
let's go Zoran.
I like
Dude,
it.
Zoran to the house.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
All
message
right.
should the message should be we need to fix this shit. Like that. Give me that on a hat. We need to
Yeah.
fix this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit is awry.
Shit is awry. That's a hat I'm gonna make.
Is that the title of this? Shit is awry.
I don't think we can put that on YouTube. Our views would be terrible.
SH star T.
I'll give it a shot for you. So,
Okay.
all right. You
All
got
right.
anything else you want to talk about tonight?
I have one more thing.
Okay, bring it.
This is very important. I joined a new dating app, and I just want to show you the advertisement to this dating app.
Jeez, I'm so excited. Hold on, before you show it to me, the audience should know that I'm infatuated with your dating apps. Like there was a period of time. I've been married for a long time. I don't get to get on dating apps, but there was a period of time where you would hand me your phone and be like, "Here, Andy, swipe for me," and I would get into it. I'd be like, "Okay, this one's into this, she's into that. Okay, left, right," and like I would ask for status reports. Like, did you ever go on a date with anybody I swiped on? And like I loved living vicariously through your dating apps, and like I'm very upset that I don't get to do that anymore. Anyhow, please show me this advertisement.
I think you're gonna love it.
Hello.
All right. So, what women want? This is called Date Right Stuff.
Is this a right-wing dating app?
Oh no.
Conservative young women and wanted to get their honest opinions about what they're looking for in the guys they date. What are you looking for in a partner?
They just have to be a conservative. Definitely someone that wants to have kids. I like an independent man. Personally, I like the alpha male vibe. I want a man who really loves his family. Definitely someone whose faith is important to them. For me, it's someone who actually wants to meet my parents.
Why do you want to date a conservative?
For me, at least I know that we're going to start off with some shared values. Well, the conservative men I've dated at least know how to treat me like a woman. In my personal experience, conservative guys have better manners. I like that they understand their role in the relationship as a man. I just prefer my men to be masculine.
And what's the biggest red flag when it comes to dating?
A Democrat. No Democrats. A Democrat. Can't be a Democrat. A Democrat. That's easy. A Democrat. No Democrats. To know.
Find the right match. Download the right stuff today.
So the one in the gold top is my kind of lady right there.
There you go.
So what's funny about that is, and there's been all kinds of articles written about this, but like conservative men, once they get past like 25, are having a hard time trying to find like a woman with shared values to date. Like there's all, and it's causing I want to say animosity toward like in the gender war, because like there's none out there, and it's because conservative women get married right out of high school or college. Like they're not sitting around single at 30 years old.
Right.
So that's been like I said, there's been a lot written about this, but like conservative men are having a hard time trying to find people to date. So it leads me to think if you go on that website, it is a sausage party.
Oh,
Like,
totally.
there's a lot of there's a lot of Joe Rogan listeners on that website, and they're like, yes, like conservative women, and then they're finding that nobody's answering their messages.
$20 says all of those girls are models and like going like,
Well,
what are we doing? But we're getting paid. They're getting paid
Yeah.
$10,000 for the day to do this.
You could do it. There's
they're not Republicans.
They might be. Now every one of those dating sites uses models that, actresses, models, whatever, to do that. That kind of that makes me giggle. I want to go sign up. Are you really on there?
No.
Okay.
No.
Like I'm gonna check with my wife, and just for like show research purposes, I want to get on that so bad. I'm in Oklahoma. I might have some ladies around me. Like I might.
Oh yeah, dude, it would be kind of fun to get on. Yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
It's gonna be all dudes. Oh, sign up as a gay man and see if you can find gay.
Okay, hold on.
I bet you there's
That's good.
thousands. I bet you have so much luck.
Have you ever had an alias, or has there ever been an alias that you've wanted to go by?
Oh, I've an alias, yeah.
Wait, give me one of your aliases.
I can't tell you on the air.
Oh, I know one of them.
No,
make up a name for me.
Paco.
Now, come on, make it a real name.
What?
Make it a white male's name. I'm gonna create an account on this right wing dating app, but I'm gonna use your picture. My wife will be totally down with it, and I'm gonna make you based in Oklahoma, and I just need an alias.
Just make it up. I don't care.
Okay, I'll come up with one. It's
Samsonite.
Samsonite. I was way off.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna come out. Okay, so I'm totally doing that. I gotta check my wife in the morning, and I'm doing that. So,
all right, so I'm gonna have 2 accounts out there now.
Yeah, I love it. All right, I got nothing else. You got anything else for me?
I think that's it, bro.
All right, this is definitely our longest episode. Sorry if anybody stuck around this long.
Like, subscribe. We have an Instagram account. Confident Idiocracy.
I still hope none of my friends find that.
And let me know if you like our new intro.
Oh yeah, the new intro.
We can
Good
still
work
change
on
it
that.
up.
Yes, awesome. All right, I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Later.
Sometimes you eat the bar, sometimes the bar eats you.